But I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
With the rockets or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. They were too fast to be in airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0,
self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Well, good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand on the Underground Media Network. Tonight, we're taking your calls as we get dirty. Let's get a little dirty. You heard the term, sometimes you just want to roll around in the mud. Well, apparently, there's some ancient wisdom that goes along with that. Or another one is God made dirt, so dirt don't hurt, right? I used to cringe as one of my cousins used to tell me that all the time, and I was like, hey, you know, that kind of doesn't mean what you think it means. Anyway, I was rolling through, again, looking for inspiration as I normally do, and I found some really fascinating stuff. And it starts with a couple articles here, which is very important to kind of frame this properly, because I think, as usual, there's... Well, things are complicated, and it's a good time to drop all the disclaimers. As usual, there's no truth to be found here. This is just ideas. This is just a conversation. This is just sort of exploring maybe the old ways and the new ways and how they kind of come together in a particular space. So, look, no truth to be found here. This is just for entertainment purposes only. I'm not a doctor. This is not, don't go eat some dirt after this, or don't not visit a doctor or something. Please do all the things a doctor you trust. All the things apply. Check with a doctor you trust before you change your diet, and all the things regarding all the rest of that. Okay. It's just an interesting thing I ran across as we were kind of going through these, the weird paces of the articles and the interwebs and all the things that are out there, again, outside of the propaganda space, because the propaganda space itself is frustrating. As we know, we've talked about this quite a lot. Oh yeah. And my camera is broken. So if you don't see me, that's why. Trust me, I'm here. I'm not a robot. You'll know by all my quirks and imperfections. Until that gets dialed in robot style, then you're stuck with me. But anyway, so I was going through some of this, and one of these, so this is from last year actually, but it just hit the news cycle once again. Let me grab the real articles. They are, where the hell are they? I put them at the bottom of the Substack, by the way. So if you are one of the ones, thank you for the individuals out there that are reading the Substack. There's some really good information that comes out of these sort of brainstorm sessions, and a lot of the information comes literally from the bowels of the internet, right? As you know, I'm using Perplexity these days to mostly ideate the shows because you can collect a ton of data, a ton of information, and and make it as amazing as possible. But it starts here. This is from theguardian.com, and I'll read a little bit from this, but it kind of adds a little bit in the write-up as well, which is on the Troubled Minds newsletter on Substack. Here you go. So, how a radical experiment to bring a forest into a preschool transformed children's health. And just the top headline here, the subheadline is, in Finland, kindergartens are exposing children to more mud, wild plants, and moss, and finding changes to their health that show how crucial biodiversity is to well-being. And this starts pretty much the same way my write-up starts. It ripped it straight from this. But if you look at this and read this and kind of go down, basically across Finland, 43 daycare centers have been awarded a total of about $1 million to rewild yards and increase children's exposure to the microscopic biodiversity, which is incredible. And you know what, an interesting sidelight to this is that you guys know me, I'm all over Vegas all the time. I see different places. And in a really bougie area of Vegas, they have this preschool, and it's not preschool, it's an elementary school. And it's like nothing I've ever seen. It's got this really massive kind of playground in the back. So there's the school, and then it goes to the blacktop, which we probably all had at regular schools all over the country. And then it goes to like a little baseball field, a softball diamond. And then it has this like really beautiful pasture that begins kind of like a wild grass sort of thing. And then it literally like fits into this like little tiny forested area with these old growth trees and stuff. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. I'll see if I can get some pictures. But I was like, looking at this and I'm like, wait, is that park behind the school part of the school? And so, I've driven by it 100 times and never really realized it. But anyway, it dawned on me, not just kind of looking at that, but kind of looking at the larger context as we're talking about tonight, is that type of stuff is what we've always been missing. Modern humanity has basically turned paradise into a parking lot, as the song goes, right? They paved paradise and put up a parking lot. And interestingly, the blacktop becomes this space of, within this one particular school, it becomes a space of this sort of beautiful looking ancient grove. I mean, it's absolutely wild. And surely in my younger days, I would have loved to have had something like that, right? And not just the track in the back and the football field or whatever. But anyway, so this is where we start. How a radical experiment to bring a forest into a preschool transformed children's health. And this is not new. This is again, there's a ton of studies. I'll link all this stuff. It will be in the description down below. But it is this is brand new in terms of as they continue to discover. And I'm going to read it straight from the bit here. Actually, hold on. Let me get the other article real quick, just to make sure we have it all in the same space so I don't forget, because if I forget, you know what happens. I have more of a disaster than usual. Okay, so this is the other one. Now, we'll get to this in a second, but geologists found Earth's oldest water, took a sip, and what happened next left them speechless. Now, we'll get to that momentarily, but right now we're focusing on this, the radical experiment to bring a forest into preschool. Now, straight from the write-up, and like I said, tonight's is very good. It's usually typically very good. Sometimes, sometimes it wobbles a little bit because nobody's perfect, nothing's perfect. But anyway, so this rips the first paragraph from the article. 5-year-old Aurora Nikula is making chocolate cake. She mixes sand and mud, splashes in water, adds imaginary carrots and potatoes, then corrects the recipe with a handful of dirt. More sugar, it tastes better, she announces before smearing the concoction across her face. Watching nearby, Aki Sinkinen, I think that's how you say it, a principal scientist with Finland's Natural Resources Institute, beams with approval. Perfect, she says. She's really getting her hands into it. And that's where this begins, because they're doing something called rewilding. And I've talked about this in the past, sort of not necessarily going feral, as feral humans might, something like that, but certainly not forgetting the old ways. And, us Gen X crowd, I know many of the folks that listen to this were probably like kind of smack dab in that Gen X-ish region where we did grow up in the dirt. There was no internet, there were no clean rooms, there was no keyboards to smash. We were out there riding our bikes and, skinning our knees and just playing in the damn dirt. And, apparently there's a massive health benefit to that, which we'll get to in a moment here. But okay, so anyway, she's really getting her hands in it. This isn't recreational messiness. It's medicine. So 3 kilometers beneath the Canadian Shield, and this is the other part, geologist Barbara Sherwood Lawler brings a sample of water to her lips. And this is that other article I was talking about there. But water that bubbled from rock fissures at nearly half a gallon per minute. Water sealed away from Earth's surface for 2.6 billion years. Yeah, she drank it. She drank this water. Would you be brave enough to drink the water? That's the first question tonight. She says, quote, very salty and bitter, she reports, grimacing at liquid 3 times saltier than seawater with a funky smell from dissolved sulfur compounds. Her Oxford colleague initially thought his mass spectrometer was broken when testing the sample's age. The number seemed impossible. Now, these two scenes, how this all comes together, separated by continents and 2.6 billion years, are basically telling the same story. Contact with Earth's oldest materials, whether ancient microbes preserved in peat or primordial water flowing through Precambrian rock, fundamentally alters human biology. And increasingly, scientists are writing prescriptions for dirt. Yeah. We'll get to the Oracle in a second here and how this kind of comes together. Like I said, I'm starting late. Sorry about that. Everything broke at showtime, as it is likely to do sometimes. I only use like 5 or 6 softwares or whatever, and they there you go, put me on the screen there. There's the thing. But basically, when one breaks, there's like this cascade of everything breaking kind of behind it, and so it's yeah. So this works, but the other thing didn't work, and then so anyway. So I'll put that on there a couple times during the show, so you know that I'm actually alive and here, and proof of life is achieved. Okay, so now the weird part is when I was digging into this and it got deeper and deeper, clearly there is wisdom in some of those old the folklore. Okay, not just the folklore of, let's say, ritual transformation, which seems very much like kind of sipping this primordial water kind of hints at, which is strange to me. Like I said. If you discovered some primordial water that was billions of years old, would you drink that? Like, even if it came up, like you did a test, a chemical test on it, and it was like, no, there's nothing toxic in there. Like, would you drink that? I don't know. It seems like scientists are kind of insane a little bit when it comes to those things. But anyway, so back to this and how all this kind of comes together. The Oracle at Delphi, which we're going to get to, of course, oracles tonight as part of it. By the way, I didn't mention it. I'm calling this the Oracle's Prescription. Puddles, Peat, and prophecy. That's P-E-A-T, not like Pete, the guy you know. Anyway, so the Oracle at Delphi inhaled ethylene gas rising from geological fissures. Touched the sacred omphalos stone, which is the belly button of Rome, which we've talked about in the past, of Greece, actually ancient Greece. Swallowed laurel leaves, then delivered prophecies that shaped empires. Before entering her trance, the Pythia, what was the name of the article? The Oracle, not the article, the Oracle, the Pythia bathed in sacred springs, ritual purification through contact with Earth's waters. For over 1,000 years, Greek citizens trusted that geological forces channeled through a human body could reveal hidden truths. Now, modern Finland has produced its own oracles, but instead of predicting the future, they're prescribing it, which brings us to the entire question tonight. There's a lot of questions that kind of come out of this, but the first one specifically, let me find this, is would you drink that water that was like 2.6 billion years old? If you were part of this expedition, you found this thing and you're like, damn, this reading seems ridiculous. There's no way this stuff is this old. Would you drink that? I mean, that seems like what are you kind of inviting into your body at that point? Like there's some things that are not just chemical, right? Maybe it's deeper and more primordial than that, just in terms of I don't know, in terms of like a ritual aspect, almost like you're communing with the ancient ways. I don't know, it's super strange. But anyway, beyond that, let's see, hold on. Oh my goodness, where's my things here? I'm such a disaster. See, when things break at the last second, it just messes me up, and it's not good. I've got all these old things that I shouldn't have because I was trying to fix the other stuff. All right, I still got the Bigfoot stuff. Anybody want to have a Bigfoot redux on the re-roll on the fight, the Bigfoot fight in the final? Okay, anyway, not that. Okay, goodness gracious. Never mind. We'll just riff it, and we're taking your calls tonight if you want to be part of the conversation. That's 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org, and we'll put you on the show. You just got to put your hand up, and it's a very simple process. And the Discord is a chat client. It's a voice client. It's completely free. Just come hang out. The only rule is just be cool and chill. Don't attack people. Don't call them names. Don't We can agree and we can disagree. We can still be friends tomorrow, and that's exactly the point of all of these conversations. So but while I get my stuff together, I know I'm sneaking up on James because we started late and it's weird and stuff. But let's go to James. Thanks again for hopping in. Always a pleasure, my man. You're on Troubled Minds. How are you tonight? We got, as you know, we got about 5 minutes or so. What's on your mind regarding this? Got anything on the prescription of Puddles, Peat, and prophecy? And how dirty did you get when you were a kid, James? Test 1 2. Say something again. Apparently they're saying we can't hear you on the stream. Yeah. All right. Everything's broken, and I'm not even doing a good job here. Okay. You know what I'm about to do. You guys know what I'm about to do. James's audio not coming through on YouTube and Rumble, and not only that, everything is just broken. Okay. I don't want to start this over, but I also don't want to waste your time. What do we do? What do we do here? Hold on. So output device is going to be, okay, so input. You can still hear me, right, James? Okay. All right. So let's try Pro 2. Okay. All right. Test 1 2. Say something, James.
Okay. Talking.
Okay.
More talking.
Better. I think you're coming through. They can hear you now. Can you guys still hear him on Discord? If so, I think we're good to go, and we'll keep on trucking here. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Tech is hard.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Like I've been doing all kinds of stuff, and it just breaks everything. Audio came back then, now back. Good. Okay. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll come right back with James again. Apparently nobody heard a word you said, so that sucks, except for the Discord fam. But you know how this works. It's yeah.
Oh yes.
When you only have one guy doing the buttons and the buttons are always breaking, then we got massive problems. So anyway, my apologies for the wobbly beginning here, but there's something to this, and we'll talk about it as we go. If you want to be part of the conversation, apparently it's working now. 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We're here with James Salcedo, of course, the paranormal expert of Troubled Minds, and we're talking this wild idea about rewilding not just ourselves, but our future. One more time, 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Be right back. Everything's broken. I'll catch you on the other side of the break. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're talking this wild idea, wild, about rewilding not just ourselves from our past, the present, and the future, but rewilding children. Playing in the dirt, Puddles, Peat, and Prophecy is what I'm calling this. And the first question, of course, is I dumped it poorly and didn't even get to it, but did you play in the mud as a child? And how did it shape the way you experience nature or even your health today? And there are some links to this, and this is not new, like I said. And this is one of those questions I posed a long time ago on one of these older shows we did. And we were talking about sort of the old ways, the ways of the Druids. And it kind of came to my mind in that moment, like, how would it be if we sort of removed the schools from the institutions, right? And actually were able to teach in the wild again, kind of like, just as a thought experiment. It kind of came out of my head just at the end of one of those shows we did. There was a similar premise talking about the Druids and the, the ancient ways and the rest of this. But I do wonder that if this thing actually starts to work and create more robust immune systems, cause less actual I don't know, like AI psychosis in the future, like this type of stuff. Like, we are accelerating to a very bad place when it comes to human health. And I do wonder if this is one of the ways we can sort of curb this, not just with autoimmune deficiencies and syndromes that are just exploding like they never have, but the autism rates. There's so many things that are just off the chart here that makes you wonder what the hell's actually happening. And again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying you should go roll in the mud. Don't do any of that stuff. But it's just a thought experiment in terms of what this looks like in the longer sense. So again, I'm calling this the Oracle's Prescription, Puddles, Peat, and Prophecy. And thank you for bearing with me as everything's broken and I'm trying to fix it on the fly. That's, like I said, I get a little flustered, but we've been here before, so I haven't ruined myself yet. But sorry, James, because we didn't hear you that first time, so I'll trim that out and we'll start here instead. But welcome to the thing. Thanks for being patient. A ton here. And that very first question that I didn't quite get to was, did you play in the mud as a child? And how did it shape the way you experience nature or health today? And so you kind of answered that, but nobody really heard you. So if you want to start there again, thanks for being patient, jumping through the hoops. Welcome back, my man.
Oh, no worries. It's funny. I was thinking about that because I kind of floundered the answer myself in a way I didn't really know how to go about it. But the answer, to be simple, is not so much. I've never liked getting dirty. It's just getting messy with things, just getting my fingers messy. I've never cared for that. I don't know where that comes from, but I've never really cared for that. So I always tried to stay out of the ground overall. I do enjoy being in and around forest or woods with trees. There's just something the sounds of the air or the wind moving through trees. Not when it's like a storm, but just everyday ordinary wind currents. To me, I'm really mostly about sound because of my low vision and just sound and I guess energy as well. But I do enjoy that being in that kind of an environment. I was saying in the first part there that if if there was an area like that right by me, I would probably go out there a lot more and maybe not have my hands so much in the ground, but at the very least walk around in that kind of, like, if I had a park right next door or something, I would probably go and walk around there every so often.
Yeah, and I'm not necessarily sure it's about sort of being dirty. It's sort of just being in the elements. And, clearly, as adults, we don't really roll around in the mud too much. If you do, let me know how that's working out. Maybe it's something we need to do. But certainly, this old philosophers have suggested that, tell me that taking a 20-minute walk in nature isn't a cure for all ills. And of course, it's a little bit hyperbole there because it doesn't cure everything. But certainly, it could cure depression and a whole number of things, just kind of spending time in nature and, smelling the pollen, smell the wind in your hair, this type of stuff, right? Even if it's mild and imperceptible, we are actual people that have been, again, for millions of years, we've been evolved to experience this, and now we're doing our best to shelter ourselves from it, which seems, again, back to that inversion I'm always talking about of the way the world is. And I don't know. I think more natural stuff certainly is, as they say, touch grass is part of this. But I think in a larger context, these kids are actually benefiting heavily. And I'll read that part on here. This is the important part that I left out because I was flustered, but it is in the write-up. But I'll read that in a second. But your take on that, James, go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if there were, imagine if parks were sort of emphasized more and more were made and or existing areas that are already still, full of trees and all that were protected more and expanded more and all that. But also I think I would hope there could be, let's say, even if they're just paths made of dirt or ground, they have to be accessible to everyone, I think, as well, for them to be used. But once that's done, if that can be done while still preserving, all the trees and everything around you, then I would gladly walk through those kinds of areas.
Yeah, and we need it. We certainly need it. And it brings to mind Central Park in New York. If anybody's ever been there, you know what I'm talking about. It's sort of a respite in like the concrete jungle. But anyway, back to this. Now, this is the important part that I flubbed because I was flustered. It is in the write-up. So this research we're talking about, Sinkinen is the actual lead scientist here. But the research team transformed 10 urban daycare yards across 2 different cities in 2016, rolling out forest floor, dwarf heather, blueberries, moss, decomposing leaves alongside sod and peat blocks in a single night. 75 children aged 3 to 5 played in these constructed wildernesses for 28 days. The results shocked even the researchers. Gamma proteobacteria, say that 3 times fast, that diversity on children's skin increased dramatically, strengthening immune defenses. Blood plasma showed elevated levels of TGF-B1 cytokine and decreased interleukin-17A, a marker connected to autoimmune diseases. The intestinal microbiota of children playing in manufactured forest patches became indistinguishable from children visiting actual forests daily. 28 days. That's how long it took to rewire immune systems that evolved over millions of years. And this is the type of studies that I think we should be actually investing in. We're doing all this stuff in the Stargate project and AI and all the things that we're always talking about. But these are some of the most important things that bring us back to the roots for where we came from. And we're not doing enough of it. But it's at least in some parts of the world, they're thinking in these terms, and this is becoming a thing. But think about that. 28 days to actually sort of cure the immune system in a space. And of course, children are different. They're super. They're growing. Their brains are just incredibly quick and fast. They're like sponges. But also, their cells are changing every day because of that growth, because of that hyper growth. So clearly, there's going to be a massive benefit to kids in this particular instance, so long as they don't get ill from the bad things in the dirt, because there are bad things in the dirt too. But in this sense, 28 days seems absolutely wild to consider. And all this is in the write-up, and the articles are linked at the bottom of that Substack as well. Anything on that, James? 28 days to rewire immune systems. Seems incredible to think, huh?
That's basically 1 month out of the year. That's, roughly. So that is, or it's like, what, 1/13 of a year or something like that? Because there's like 52 weeks in a year. So, yeah, that's amazing. And I wonder, what will be found years from now when those kids get older and become adults, and will any of what they have acquired be passed on to their children, their offspring as well?
Yeah, and that becomes the thing, right? And I do wonder, because we're now a couple generations past, Gen X. I'm Gen X, not to say we're some sort of magical generation or something, but basically we did grow up in the dirt, and now all the latest generations have not. And as we get newer and newer technology and more buildings built, and all the schools have HEPA filters because of the pandemic now or whatever. I mean, we're doing more and more of this, sort of keeping people from where we came from. And again, I'm not suggesting you should go mainline or I don't know, like huff the sewer or lick doorknobs or anything like that. Don't do silly stuff. But you get what I mean. There's certainly something to this magic here that we've forgotten. And the more we build and the more technological we become, the more we forget ourselves. And it seems as if even the more sick we get as part of it. So that's what's on my mind tonight. Sorry for the disasters. I'll trim out that first part where we couldn't hear James because that was awful. Sorry about that, James, and everybody else that was listening out there. But that's what's on my mind tonight. There's a ton more to get to, but that's the first question as we roll. Did you play in the mud as a child? And how did it shape the way you experience nature or health today? And that's where we begin. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Anything, James? And then we'll go to the Robert on the phone line.
Oh, just looking forward to hearing what everyone says, and because this is definitely, I don't have too much to add to this today, so hopefully everyone calls in.
Okay, fantastic. You are the best. You know him, you love him. And we'll get back to James momentarily. That's Salcedo Paranormal, the paranormal expert of troubled minds and the glue of the show, as you already know. Let's go to the Robert. Robert in Pennsylvania. What's up, my man? You're on Troubled Minds. How you doing tonight? And go right ahead. Just unmute, and it's all yours.
Good morning.
Good evening.
I don't know. Daylight savings time. I'm not sure whether it's morning or evening anymore.
That, yes.
Yeah, this struck a chord with me, what your topic is tonight, because I remember when I was a kid, a bunch of families in the neighborhood would gather at this stream, swim in the stream, that sort of stuff, especially in the summer. And I remember seeing babies eating the dirt, and one of the mothers who I knew pretty well, it was one of those babies was hers, and I said something about it, and she told me, she says, I have no problem, that's nothing to worry about, that helps their immunity system. And what I gathered listening to your program tonight, because I rejected that completely when she told me that, is that maybe this is something that's been going on for generations in the past, and something, that we've forgotten about, that they practiced in the past.
Yeah, it certainly seems like it. And shout out to Brent and Richard over there on YouTube. They're talking about that old saying. I'm sure you've heard this before. When you're like, tough it up, kid, or whatever, rub some dirt on it and get back in the game, right? I mean, that seems like the worst thing you would possibly do if you skinned your knee or something. But now it seems as if maybe there's some ancient wisdom to kind of go along with that, which is wild to consider, huh?
Oh, sure. Back in the days before Big Pharma, wounds would be covered with mud to help them heal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And you can't. Absolutely right. You can pack a wound with the right type of mud, and yeah, exactly, and sort of help it in the healing process. You're absolutely right. Kind of the old school bandage. And not only that, honey. I mean, we've talked about that in the past as well on this show, is that the ancient Egyptians found out how to do that with honey as a antimicrobial, that they would pack a wound with honey and then cover it with either a bandage or, as you're describing, mud or something to that degree. And it would literally not just help it heal, like super heal, but it would keep it from getting infected. Like this is all ancient knowledge and wisdom, but as usual, right? We're just kind of flushing it down the toilet for, $600 a month healthcare that won't cover anything, and they just tell you to go home. It's horrific. This is the world we live in these days.
Yeah, everybody should have a book in their library about old health recipes, because that's what they did back then. Herbs and things like that. And of course, after Big Pharma took over everything, that stuff has pretty much been suppressed. I often wonder about women putting mud on their skin, on their faces and stuff, as when they go to a spa or something like that. There must be something to that.
Yeah, never tried it myself, but I'm not the skincare guru. Anybody that knows me can actually back me up 100% on that. So maybe we're doing something wrong. Maybe we should be rubbing some dirt on it, huh?
Oh yeah, I imagine when animals are grazing, they don't just get the grass or the wheat or whatever. That sometimes they get some of that dirt in their mouths and digestion. It doesn't seem to hurt them.
Yeah. Yeah,
of course,
exactly.
I'm not going to go out anytime soon to my yard and scoop a bunch of dirt and sit down and have breakfast.
That you should not do, but probably doing some gardening and in the morning sun would be very, very beneficial. And that's the thing, right? Clearly don't eat the dirt, but being part of that natural environment, I think is really what we've been missing as part of why everybody's getting sick and why we're more and more depressed, not just the internet stuff we're always talking about and AI and all the things, but very simply sort of just the basis of where we came from as evolutionary humans was nature, was the natural dirt, which was water, the basis of things. And now we're avoiding it and even drinking what's it called? What's the water that's even purified water and things like this? It's like, is that the best? I mean, sure, it's clean. It's got no germs in it or whatever, but is it the best for us? I'm not so sure.
Well, our tap water here where I live is, has fluoride in it, and fluoride it's a terrible thing to be ingesting. And the only reason that they came up with this idea that it had something that it's great for bones and teeth was because it was just a leftover from mining. I forget what the mining was, but some leftovers from that, and it was piling up, and they had to get rid of it, and they figured out a way to. They pulled a fast one on people and somehow managed to convince people that this fluoride that was toxic, that they needed to that they always had to get rid of before they come up with an idea that, maybe we can market this as something good for your teeth and bones.
Which is one of the most nefarious things in modern history, by the way, because as the conspiracy theorists wink wink say, nobody's ever died from a fluoride deficiency, and that's a fact.
There's one more thing on that. Brushing your teeth. All right. The problem with brushing your teeth, you do it 2 or 3 times a day, is that over time, your abrasive, it's abrasive, and you're getting your enamel's starting to thin, but also it rattles your teeth. Because you're using the pressure and the teeth, eventually start to weaken and move back and forth, and you lose your teeth. The best way to keep your teeth is to use a good antibacterial mouthwash or rinse, after you eat, and never take a toothbrush and toothpaste to your teeth.
Yeah, and water picks. I mean, there's so many things in the modern age too that you can do this.
Right,
stuff.
they're now saying that the flossing is bad for you because it leaves microplastics, and it can and all it does is drive the bacteria further down into the gum.
It sounds like a dentist conspiracy to get you to pay more money every time you go. That's what it sounds like.
Well, yeah, it's all money. It's all money. Let me tell you something. I've had to see a number of doctors in the last almost a year. It was hard, because I've never. It's been like years before since I've seen it. It was hard to get one, and over some minor problem, and of course I've had to take blood tests and all this other stuff. All right, and I want to, and it's incredible how amazed that I'm not arguing. I'm not exaggerating. That the doctors are that I'm that healthy. All right, that at 77, I'm 72 years old, and I'm very, very healthy. All right, and usually, I'm not walking around with a walker or anything like that. But anyway, I think the reason is that the worst I've ever taken, as far as a medicine goes, is an aspirin. Maybe once or twice a year for something, a headache or something like that there. But I've never taken any prescription. As a matter of fact, that's the thing that amazes them, that I'm not on any prescriptions.
Yeah.
That's what amazes them the most.
Yeah, which is, once again, back to Big Pharma like you were describing. And part of this larger problem we're talking about is that when we go to the doctor, they're trying to give us something that will make us go away, right? Here's the thing, take this, your blood pressure will come down as a statin. When, I've said this many times before, you could eat oatmeal. Yeah, you could eat oatmeal every morning, and that would also bring your blood pressure down. I mean, a natural thing. Again, non-glyphosate oats will help you in a major way. But instead, they're like, no, take this, and then, come back when whatever. And when the goal is, when we go to the doctor, we should be like, how can I be the most healthy and stay off of medication? That should be the question we're asking, and that should be the goal they're trying to help us with. But as you know, and as I know, and everybody here knows, that's not what the hell's happening out there at all.
Oh no. You know, since they lifted Reagan, I think it was Reagan lifted the ban on pharmaceuticals advertisement, which is we're one of the few countries in the world that allows pharmaceuticals to advertise their products. That's when it started to grow. And the thing is that back then, before that, most of the network programs were sponsored by cigarettes, right? And when that was banned from advertising on television, all right, that took us, tons of money away from the networks. And so between the networks and Big Pharma, they pushed to have that lifted. So, and now if you look at it, most of everything most of shows on network television are sponsored by pharmaceuticals, right? And they're not going to do any in-depth persecution of the pharmaceutical industry when they rely on them to pay, to write their paychecks.
Yeah, it was eye-opening when you kind of saw how many commercials were playing on CNN and whatnot recently. I won't even invoke the thing, and not only that, how much of that money flows into the advertising spaces and podcasters and broadcasters and radio, you name it. It is. We are heavily indebted as industries, full industries, to Big Pharma entirely. And it's not just in the political cycles that come every 2 years and every 4 years. It's unbelievable how much of this entrenched money of individuals we loathe basically is pumping up economies and making people say things that they probably shouldn't be saying because they're just paying their bills. It's wild, but this is the world we live in.
It often amazes me when I'm watching a commercial, when I'm watching network television and there's a commercial comes on for Pfizer or something, and they go through this. Ask your doctor about this, like you're supposed to. Doctor, can I have this? All right, but then they come up with all these lists of things that could go wrong. Oh yeah, I want that. Yeah, it's got 50 things that could even death that could happen to you. I'm going to go ask my doctor if I can have that. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Some of those side effect lists are horrific too. So up to and including death. You're like, I think I was cool before I took this, whatever this madness is. But yeah, wild how they have to add those. At least that's part of the law where they can't leave out the side effects. But I mean, horrific.
So my advice to people listening, because I know you're going to go to commercial in a few minutes, is it may be too late for you. Because some years back they put you on. Your doctor told you to start taking this and start taking that and start taking this. I mean, goodness gracious, I've seen people that have these medicine things with pills, and each compartment tells them what to take every day. All right, it's killing them. It's not helping them. It's killing them. And if you could possibly, the internet is wonderful. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's some bad information on there. But if you really, really try hard enough, if whatever problem you've got, you're going to find a natural solution to that problem without having to take the statins or whatever else that they want to pour down your throat, all right, because of their profits. Because that's the problem with healthcare, all right? They're not going to tell you to take your kids and let them to the backyard and let them eat the dirt. They're not going to tell you that. Since it's all become profit-minded, has nothing to do with health anymore. They don't care if they kill you. Look what they did with the jab. They killed a lot of people with that thing. All right, and they didn't care. The bottom line was they made billions, and that's all they cared about. There's a lesson to be learned there.
Exactly right. And for the record, I'm not on any medication. Thank you very much. And years ago,
and you look pretty damn healthy there now that you're not wearing your Halloween mask.
Thanks. I got a little bit of a skin issue that maybe some mud will help, but I've always had bad skin my whole life. But I mean, go ahead.
What kind of skin issue?
No, like I have slight rosacea, and I just always kind of had a slight acne issue my entire life. Yeah.
Let me explain something. This when it comes to skin problems. All right. Dermatologists used to use cream and stuff when you had, let's say, a little touch of skin cancer on your face or something, all right, basal cell, all right. That's what they used to do. There was a cream for it, and they used that, and it was fine. But then when they met in convention about, I would say 12, 15 years ago, right? It came through in that convention that the money was not in the cream because, it's in surgeries. So now when people have a touch of a basal cell cancer on their face, they go to the dermatologist. He uses the laser or cuts it out, and it doesn't. All you do is you're going back and forth because that doesn't get rid of it. Matter of fact, it continues to come back and back. And I'm telling people, best advice: go to a immunotherapy anytime you've got anything that involves the skin or cancer, and then go to immunotherapy clinic and stay away from those people. Okay.
You're the best.
See you later.
Appreciate the call. Robert in Pennsylvania, you know him, you love him. I'll tell you all about him when we get back. Remember, we're not doctors. Consult a doctor you trust. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. We got Matt Sal coming up. More from James and your calls as well. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting, which you can find at troubledminds.org. Just click play on the top. It's a black button that says listen live. And of course, there's 24 hours of awesome radio shows and programming over there on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. Lots of amazing friends that have done tons of work over the years, including, of course, Salcedo Paranormal. James here. He's got just hit 900 episodes. Go support the radio station. Go check it out. We got a lot of great people that have been part of that. We're also on 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand tonight. And the question is this: is it possible that something as simple as mud and ancient water could hold the key to healthier lives and deeper understanding? Can touching Earth's oldest materials truly shape our bodies and minds, restoring connections lost to modern life? And that's what's on my mind tonight. There's a lot to this, and like I said, these articles will be listed in the description below if you want to read up fully. I think some of this is obvious, but the problem is that without sort of the scientific backing and being able to kind of cite articles and say, well, look, this is an actual study that was done in 2024 or whatever, and they found this little thing to be true. And I get correlation, causation, and all the stuff, but that's what science does. It's supposed to go through this and find some links and some signatures of the old ways and the new ways and put this stuff together. But we have a problem. And I think the problem is, of course, funding, and it is big pharma. It is the pharmaceutical industry. It is all that stuff. And that's what drives me nuts, because some of the most obvious things that are right in front of our faces are not something that we're dealing with. Instead, we're, worried about politics, or we're worried about the geomagnetic incursion, or we're worried about World War III, or like you name it, the shiny object, the UFOs, the comet. Dear God, all the clickbait on the comet. We're worried about the comet, which has apparently, what's the latest thing? 50,000 draconian soldiers on the comet that's going to invade Earth. Look, who am I to say that's wrong? But color me blushed if you don't think I'm a little bit skeptical when somebody makes claims like that. So anyway, love to hear your thoughts on this. Lots of stuff here to talk about, lots of wild ideas, but this is called tonight The Oracle's Prescription: Puddles, Peat, and Prophecy. Anything to add, James? And then we'll go to Matt Sal, who just jumped in here. Appreciate you guys very much.
Great call from Robert. He reminded me, and I put this in the chat, he reminded me about how I remember even 20 years ago or more, sitting at my grandparents' house watching TV with my grandma, and there'd be advertisements during the breaks and TV shows, and one would be for something from a medicine company, a big pharma, and then the next ad, or maybe the one right after that, would be a law firm about where you could file a suit against big pharma for the effects of one of their medicines. I remember seeing that all the time, which just blew my mind that this was all just happening, and it was everywhere, all the channels.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's no such thing as a psyop, right? There's no such thing as media saturation on a particular idea. Like, these are the types of things that like make my mind spin, and just because we've been indoctrinated to them doesn't necessarily make them true. And that's the hard part I have with all this stuff, which again spawned troubled minds because there's so many things to think about that nobody ever talks about. And here we are. Fire stuff, James. What else you got?
That's it for now. Looking forward to the rest of the calls.
You're the best. Appreciate it very much, Matt. In California, Matthew, Temple of the Owl. What's up, brother? Thanks for being patient. You're on Troubled Minds. How are you? Go right ahead.
Hey, guys. Good show. Good call from Robert.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to start off with a joke. George Carlin, he said, as a kid, we swam in the Hudson River, and I never got sick all my life. You know why?
Why?
Because I swam in the Hudson River.
Exactly. And this is what we're missing. And I think if you swim in the Hudson River now, you'll need like a full decontamination bit. And that was his point. That was his point, right? There was a natural basis to that back then that is now like sludge and toxins. And well, welcome to the rape of the modern world, or the grape of the modern world for the algorithms out there. Not a good word, but it's horrific and it's funny and it's a joke, but it's also very, very true.
Yeah, and it's a good topic. I think we should talk about it, and of course, you gotta say all the disclaimers, right? I'm not a doctor. I don't, gotta say all that. But I had a story. The reason I called it, I had this thought. You were talking about getting in the mud and stuff, and I had this story about when I was a little kid. I was like 8 or 9 years old, and I remember I used to go. I would be barefoot a lot. Like I would go over to people's. I would be barefoot walking down the roads and stuff. And I would, you build up like a callus on your feet. And nowadays, you go outside walking on the road, it hurts your feet because we're not used to it. We always wear shoes. But I remember as a kid, I was walking around barefoot. And one day I'm walking, hanging out with some friends. We're in a field. And I didn't know I stepped on a bee. And the bee, he did his thing. He defended himself and he stung me in the bottom of the foot. And I realized what happened. I freaked out. I was a little kid. I didn't know. And because it hurt. And I ran home. I ran home to my mom. And as I ran home, I ran through a puddle of mud. And the mud, I pulled the stinger out. And the mud had, I don't know how to say it. By the time I got home, I wasn't in any pain. And I realized, okay, the mud, it helped, it took away the pain. It took away the pain of the bee sting. And ever since then, like I said, I was like 8 or 9 years old. Ever since then, I'm not really afraid of bee stings anymore because I know that the cure to a bee sting is get some dirt and some water, make mud, and apply the mud to a bee sting, and the pain goes away in like less than a minute.
The old joke plays. Rub some dirt on it, man. Get back in the game.
Yeah. I just thought that was cool. Is that kind of on the topic we're talking about tonight?
Yeah, definitely. And that becomes a thing, right? And this really gets into, which is right down your alley as well, folk magic, right? The remedies of old are old human wisdom that have been forgotten, that have been really kind of run under the big pharma aspect of this. And this wasn't supposed to be a big pharma show. It's the opposite of that, because a lot of the people out there, and rightfully so, by the way, are talking about big pharma directly and kind of digging into some of the things that they do and say. And that's good. That's good information to get out there. But I was looking at this in sort of the home remedy stuff, the ancient ways, like turmeric and things like this that we've talked about in the past, and natural anti-inflammatories, and as Robert said, kind of getting off of the antibiotics and the medication and all the things as part of who we are. It's where we came from. It's how we evolved. So like evolving into these, hyper prescription people taking, 44 pills and stuff, it just doesn't seem right. But here we are.
Yeah, and I posted in the chat a book I'm looking at here. It's called Forgotten Home Apothecary. It's by Nicole Apperthin. I do recommend at least looking at or picking up this book because the reason why I have this book is because if I'm not no doomsday, but if it does go bad and we don't have the internet, we're not going to be able to use Google search. So having the actual physical book in my hand to look up these recipes or any kind of problems you have, and grow the herbs yourself. I mean, that's the best way. But back to the schools, I think, I was right. The schools, they indoctrinated us they wanted us to be workers. And again, I didn't think it's another George Carlin joke. They wanted us to be, workers, smart enough to push the buttons, but not smart enough to question how bad it is. And the schools indoctrinated us to be workers. They didn't teach us anything about, like I said, they didn't teach us how to garden. They didn't teach us how to fish or change a tire, things like this. I think that the schools do need to go back to being some more like outdoors, or more teaching us how to grow food. I never understood why like growing food is such a, only farmers can do it. No. We all can. We just weren't taught that. And getting back to the schools, again, a story from when I was a kid. I was like, I don't know how old. I was in sixth grade camp, and we went to this camp. It was out in the redwoods, and I remember the teacher. And you can't do this anymore, but the teacher told us, go out. We were at this like huge field with like tall grass, and the teacher told us, go out into this field and just sit there, and just sit there, and see what happens. And of course, I'm a dumb kid. I would rather be hanging out with my friends or doing something else, right? So I go out, I sit in the field, and I'm sitting there, and I just remember, and I still to this day, I remember very vividly. I remember after 10, 15 minutes, my mind started to quiet, and I remember like the purple mountains and the sun setting in behind the mountains and the wind in the trees, and just the feeling that I had of just being out in nature. And so I think that's gonna be a huge part of it, is going back out into nature. And I do talk a lot about grounding and how walking barefoot on the earth and looking at the benefits of the health benefits of that. And just, if you can just get like 15 minutes a day, put your bare feet on the earth. And what I started doing was I started actually, because I would work out in the morning. I'm like, why am I working out in my house on the hardwood floor? I'd go outside and touch my bare feet to the ground and work out outside. And I've noticed a huge results. I've noticed just my health, my feeling. I feel so much better just by getting that, like I said, 15 minutes a day of touching the ground to our earth. We are electromagnetic creatures, and we need that connection to the earth. And not going to get into the like conspiracy theory of they made us shoes and rubber soles and all that to cut us off from that. But I feel like that is one of the first things, like in schools and stuff, that we should look into that. And it'd be cool if we taught that in school. Run around barefoot. I'm sorry if I'm rambling. No, you're good. You're good. Instead of like, leather moccasins of old type of thing that really didn't kind of cut you off of that natural touch. I mean, I think there's so much here that, like I said, you could probably spend a year of your life rabbit holing this and really finding answers to this, not just electromagnetically as you're speaking, meaning that the grounding aspect of this and how it affects our immune system and how it affects our mood and everything else, but also as you're describing when it comes to working out and this type of stuff. Like being active is of course good, but when you go outside, not just you have the benefit of grounding and the theoretical toes in the dirt type of thing, you don't have to be barefoot, but then you're also getting the vitamin D from the sun. I mean, there's just so much of this stuff that we've been literally like kind of sectioned off of, that we're kind of, I don't know. And it's not necessarily like a discouragement of like, don't go outside, but it seems like all the shiny objects and all the, the coolest stuff is inside. They're in these attractions we built and these massive buildings of this or that or the other thing. And it's, I don't know, I don't want to call it like a psyop per se, but I do want to suggest that we are heading in a lot of the wrong directions. I mean, what happened to the atriums of old and, this type of stuff that they don't no longer put into buildings unless it's like a massively extravagant type thing. I don't know. It just, I think there's so much here that you could probably trace this back and spend a year of your life really finding some information on this that would change the world, including, of course, like I said, I brought up the vitamin D and the sunlight, but also these, incandescent
or LED lights or whatever, like this pale light that they're always subjected to. I mean, there's so much here that really is affecting us, not just our immune systems, but our moods and everything else. And all of that, of course, goes together, which is, again, welcome to the conversation in 2025, right?
Yeah, Wi-Fi as well. There's a lot there. I just feel, if we do need to get back to the old ways and the roots. I'm gonna finish with just saying, it'd be cool if our grandkids, our kids or our grandkids could be having school in the woods like the Druids. I could just envision it. Your spiel earlier about having school in the woods.
Yeah, remember, I think you and I did, you were at least part of that show. This was maybe a year or two ago. I don't know, but it kind of came to mind as part of this. We were talking about the old ways and returning to the ways of the Druids and things like this. And it was one of my musings at the end. I was like, I wonder what would happen if you really kind of removed the building from the school and then kind of taught it in nature instead. And now we're starting to see, this was maybe a couple years back, we're starting to see science actually kind of back up the claim. And like I said, I didn't have anything other than my intuition to suggest that would be true. But now suddenly, like I said, these individuals in, what is this? Where's the damn country? It's one of them fine countries across the pond there, but Finland, there it is. So in Finland though, but they've been doing this for several years and testing the immune systems of children. And again, 28 days is what it takes to sort of supercharge and re-energize the health of children that have been sort of they've been removed from nature. It's wild to me that some of this stuff is just so incredibly obvious, but as usual, we have differences of opinion everywhere. And as Robert was saying earlier, like you said, let the kids have the dirt. They need it. It's good for their immune system. He was horrified. Like, why would you do that? That seems crazy. And then on further actual thought in this and kind of seeing the way Big Pharma has done its thing. And well, here we are. It's I think it's important to recognize, as you know, and I know we've talked about this quite a lot between us and everybody else on the show here, that the old ways should not be forgotten. And I'm not going to let it happen. I'm going to deep dive this as much as I can and learn as much as I can about this and maybe become, well, I don't know, greater than I ever could, more powerful than you ever imagined. What else you got? You're the best, Matt.
That did remind me of, if I have one more take.
Sure.
That did remind me of some things I've been seeing online recently about these schools. These, like I said, other schools in other countries. I think I want to say like India, kind of reminds me. But in these other schools, they're learning, like it shows like kids in school, and they're learning more like mind techniques. Like there's this thing, and I don't know exactly what it's called, but I have one, and it's like basically what it is that it's a needle, and it's sticking straight up, and you place this, sometimes they're paper or like made out of aluminum foil, like a triangle on top of the needle, and then you can use your hands, the aura or the aura of your hands to spin this top on top of the needle. Basically, it's really hard to explain it. I show pictures and stuff, but basically, you use your mind to spin this piece of paper on top of this needle, and you can put it under a glass jar so it's not your breath. And we play with it. We kind of use it. It's like a focus for telekinesis, like using your mind to move things. They're teaching this to kids in school. They're teaching kids, like I'll draw something and then you try to draw it blindfolded, kind of things like that. Trying to teach kids like telekinesis kind of reminds me of, not like an MK Ultra, but like if it was taught in schools, like how to be more how to exercise your telekinesis, and they're using it in schools and teaching it to children, which it's cool, but at the same time it's kind of scary.
Yeah, well, all of this is scary. No matter where you take it, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. It's just scary. It's one of those things. Teach power to the wrong people. We got to teach them how to use it and how to use it properly is where I'm going with that. But yeah, it's interesting to see in other countries how their school is and how here, like I said, we're taught, only learn the knowledge, only learn what you're told and repeat it with tests. And it's, it doesn't, at the end of the day, I look back and, I'm so glad, I don't know how to, buy a house or do taxes, but I'm so glad I learned about all the polygons in high school.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike.
You're the best. Appreciate the call. Always a pleasure. Tell Lacey we said hi, and you have a great night.
Good night.
Thank you very much. That's Matthew in California. Matt's Owl, Temple of the Owl. You know him, you love him. Again, go check out his podcast. As I say every time he's on the show, thank you again for the call. He's got a massive esoteric book collection that he's synthesizing. He's going through it. He's reading these things. He's learning things about the old ways, and he's teaching them to us through his podcast, which is called Temple of the Owl. Check it out. TempleoftheOwl.com is the name of the website, and all his podcasts are there. Download it. You can find it on Spotify and all the places you get your podcasts. It's an amazing thing, and Matt's got amazing insight because we are both focused on the past and how it's going to inform the future. And for me, when we forget these things, we're doing ourselves a massive disservice. And this is what I've always been talking about. I want to add one thing before James, if you got anything else, you got some time here, but I was kind of thinking about some other instances with this. And there's so icing babies. Have you heard of this? So it's a traditional practice in some Scandinavian and Nordic countries, particularly Finland. It involves wrapping infants and sometimes very young children warmly and then letting them nap or spend supervised quiet time outdoors in the cold, even during winter months. The belief is that cold air naps help improve baby's health as part of this, rather than like we're talking about tonight, strengthen their immune systems and support better sleep. Parents bundle the babies in thick clothing and sleeping bags, leaving only the face exposed, and place them outside in prams or strollers for naps, even when temperatures are below freezing. Studies have shown that in these cultures, parents report healthier babies who tend to sleep longer and get sick less often, though scientific research is still ongoing into the broader health effects. The tradition is sometimes met with surprise from outsiders, but it's a long-standing and accepted part of early childhood care in Finland, Sweden, and other northern countries. It reflects a wider cultural confidence in nature's health benefits and the importance placed on fresh air and resilience from a very young age. And it's just one of many examples of this type of thing. It just came to mind as we were talking about that, as Matzel brought up some of the stuff he was enlightening us with. But this is what I mean. We are in a very precarious spot where you ask the AI stuff and it's like, well, it's controversial and this or that, but it's something they've been doing for hundreds or thousands of years. So, right, how dangerous could these things be? Again, I'm not suggesting you should do any of these things. Go again, do all your research, check with a doctor you trust. I'm not a doctor. I just don't want to get in trouble here and tell you go eat dirt, lick doorknobs. Don't do any of that stuff. Don't leave your kids out in the cold. You get it? That's not what I'm saying at all. Supervised. Brief durations. Take a nap, bring them inside. Anyway, James, anything on that? We got tons of stuff to talk about, tons of ways to take this. Thanks for being patient, my man.
No worries. Great call from Matt's Hall. Has me thinking, and especially with that last part there, it's not just sort of our bodies that are that we're basically told to do this or do that by the larger corporations and all that. I mean, we've talked about this before as well, this whole other angle. It's the mind. And it's fascinating to me that there are places around the world that are trying to teach kids about the powers of the mind, the abilities of the mind. And this is one thing I can talk about. There are many examples throughout time of people having experiences where something happened near them and they felt like they caused it somehow with their mind, with their energy, whatever you want to call all that, probably both together. But that, again, is something else that is mostly looked down on at this point. But I'm thinking here, if you're out in nature, you're away from all the electronics, all the devices, all the signals, at least as far out as you can be from it all. I love all the electronics. I use, do what I do through all my computer and all my stuff like that. But I still acknowledge that there are drawbacks to it all. And I'm just thinking, all the few times I've ever been outside for a while, just listening to nature, it was just always very calming, and it always made it easier in a way to think and to relax. And I'm wondering about the sort of the benefits to the mind as well as the body in being out there in a more natural environment as well.
Yeah, I think that's the secret space here, meaning that specifically when our mind is healthy, our body is more likely to be healthy as well. And so it is a system that works together. And, if you're constantly in depression and staying inside and all those weird lights, the LED lights, this stuff has been known to affect us. The science is abundant and probably very clear at this point. But for some reason, we think that, it's going to save the energy, save the planet, like the climate change stuff. It's weird how where we came from seems to be not where we're headed for a very obvious reason. And you decide the obvious reason. I've got my ideas, but I don't know. All of this, when it comes together, really seems as if we are lost. That's probably the best way to put it succinctly, as if we're lost from where we came from our roots. And it's frustrating to me to see some of it and then have it accelerate the other way anyway.
Yeah, I spend most of my time indoors at home because of my own conditions and everything. And I deal with it, but I don't prefer it. I don't like it. But and that's, again, due to my situation and the way that the world has developed to get me there as well, in a way.
Yeah. And that's okay. Like, all this stuff is okay. Like I said, the problem becomes when sort of we're herded into this thing like cattle where we don't have a choice. Choice becomes the paramount here. And I think it's important to consider it, to talk about it, and to not forget where we came from. You're the best, James. Thank you for the call, gentlemen. Love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. We got Derek the Night Stalker coming up, and your thoughts as well. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. All the things, all the places. Yes, my camera's broken. Everything broke just before showtime again. So here you go. Here's a Michael Strange without a filter. You can see how terrible my skin is. But I'm a real human. I promise you that. Tonight we're talking the holistic space of not just, let's say, children being put out in Scandinavia in the ice, or icing babies as it's known, but also beyond that, there's this weird study that's been done several years now in Finland, where they're actually putting children and preschool children out in the elements and teaching them, or not really teaching them, allowing them space to reconnect with the wild. And the term is rewilding. And I love it very much because it seems very much like what we've been doing on Troubled Minds forever. It's kind of like the rewilding space, not necessarily going feral, as I said earlier. That's not the thing. It's just reconnecting with our natural space of our, millions of years of evolution, billions of years, if you believe that. It just depends on your take on this. And clearly we came from a certain space, and the last 200 years has changed everything. And so we don't have enough time for evolution to catch up to it. Again, the way evolution works is not that quickly until it is. However, there's a larger context here of, what do they say? Get your toes back to the earth, or what's the thing? Touch grass. All the rest is rub some dirt on it. There's some wisdom in some of these stupid things that you hear in these alternative spaces, and certainly Troubled Minds is one of those, and we've been one of those for a long time. And look, I'm not here to preach to you and tell you you should do this or you should do that. You decide yourself. But the idea really becomes that the inversion seems to be true, that we're under these LED lights, which cause levels of depression or sub levels of focus, instead of the incandescent light that was more sort of vitamin D-esque with the sun, right? It's not the same property, but it's the same idea of the color of the light. Again, like I said, these studies have been done, and it is an interesting space to consider and talk about. James, anything on any of this? And then we'll go to Derek in Massachusetts. Thanks for being patient, gentlemen.
Oh, no problem. You know what's ironic about that is I was just thinking, yeah, all the lights, that must be messing me up. And I was like, oh, wait, I don't use lights in my apartment unless I'm like doing something. When I'm at my computer, I don't have any lights on. So it's kind of funny. Just a little blind joke there, legally blind joke from the blind guy. But
blind jokes.
But yeah, James. I mean, what's that?
Blind jokes from James.
Oh. Yeah, there you go. So, but no, and it's all those electronics. The other thing is too, not even just the light, but I'm sure, like at least for me personally, the sound. If you listen, you can hear a lot of these things that you have around you that are electronics. They put off either sound and or vibration, and it can really be annoying at times. And if they're not working right or something, something interacts with the devices in the wrong way, the vibration increases. It can be be a major distraction, major problem.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. And I think even if you have a blindfold on, I still think the light affects your mood, like whether you know it or not. I think that becomes really the problem here, is that it's not just visible light spectrums. I think maybe just maybe our body is kind of soaking up this unnatural light, and it's having an effect on us anyway. So that's a study that I think needs to be done if it hasn't been. I'll see if I can find something regarding that. But if you blindfolded people and had them, I don't know, let's say take calls or something, take like like a call center type of thing where they had to push one button to pick up the call and then one button to hang up, and they just sat there with a blindfold on, but the light was different. I bet you in about 6 weeks you could probably have a measurable novel finding. I don't know. Like I said, maybe this has been done, but it seems to me that this is part of our problem, is we're accelerating away from where we should be, is really my point tonight.
Well, just real quick on that, it's still vibrations. It's still energy waves. And again, I don't have lights on for that reason, because I can hear them when they're on. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that kind of thing would prove something, or at least indicate that as well.
Yeah, which is the point. What are we missing? I'm calling this the Oracle's prescription tonight. Puddles, Peat, and prophecy. We'll get to the prophecy bit with the Oracle at Delphi, because I think that's fascinating as well. But anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you have a part of this you want to add to the conversation, you know where to find us, 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. Let's go to Derek in Massachusetts.
Just going to get weird.
Oops, that's the wrong button. How about that one?
It doesn't get weird. You're right, Terrence.
Terrence is like, this is going to get really weird. Here's Derek in Massachusetts. Welcome, brother. How you doing tonight? And what's on your mind? Go right ahead.
Not too. Oh, damn! I had a cough. Sorry. Start with.
That's okay. It's all good. Hey,
best start. All right. Yeah. No. Great show. Wild stuff.
Wobbly to start. Real quick though, regarding your cough and regarding my imperfect skin and regarding the imperfect delivery, like this is where we're headed to human spaces with these AI spaces, that AI news and stuff. Like that. It's good. We should cough. I don't think once they make AIs that cough, we're cooked. So we'll just keep coughing. Sorry, go ahead.
Exactly. And just real quick before we get started, shout out Robert and Matt Dowell. You said you were going to give him a little during the break. You said you.
Thank you. Yes. 100%. templeoftheowl.com. I did that. The Robert, please go check out his book, troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down. It's the Robert. Matt Sal's there as well. Stories from a Fractured Mind. The Robert Collection is the name of that book. You can find it on Amazon. Get it tonight. Probably have it delivered tomorrow. Thank you. All yours. I appreciate the reminder.
Yeah. Great stuff. This is gonna sound like the weirdest devil's advocate that I've done. And I don't necessarily even mean it that way. I'm not sure if it's because it's a busy night and I'm like anxious and irritated. So I'm just going to play contrarian. I don't know, but I agree with everything everybody is saying, that it would be nice if we like got back to nature and had kids out at school, like outside, like when in like the early 2000s, they started bringing like we got a grant in my school for like this ropes course and stuff. So they tried like bringing at least having like gym class outside when the weather was nice or whatever. And like natural remedies, I think is hugely important. So keep all that in mind when I get to devil's advocate stuff. But just first, like, did I play in the mud? You asked, and yes, like a lot. I mean, mud pies. We're all making just taking like berries off the trees, making weird like concoctions and stuff, and like the sandbox, the metaphorical sandbox, whatever. Just like the forest was kind of the hangout area. When the weather, I mean, I'm in New England, so the weather's nice. So like when the weather's nice or whatever. And then every weekend during the summer we would go up to called the camping. It's just like it's like an RV with a room attached to it, and like on a lake or whatever. So all the kids, that's like the closest thing to what like 80s kids describe as like the latchkey kids, where they just went out at dawn and came back when the sun went down or whatever. I think in the 90s, I would have done that more if I had a neighborhood, but I had no kids around me. But I did experience that when we went, quote unquote, camping. And there was no shoes, and you'd be real proud at the end of the summer how tough your feet were. That you could, at the beginning of the summer, you wouldn't walk on the rocks. By the end, oh yeah, like my feet had gotten toughened up, and the people who live there like full year round kind of like joke, like make fun of the shoebies of the soft feet or can't handle the different nature stuff. And there was like kids who used to like jump in like play in the swamp and all kinds of stuff. But now as an adult, I'm like, if I swim in like not a pool, like I wish I had like water shoes on, and I don't want to touch anything. And it's like, that's
exactly.
If the 5-year-old self look at me now, he'd be embarrassed by me. You know, I've turned soft. I'm sorry, good.
No, totally. When I was young, I was lucky enough to, as an 80s kid, again, I had a friend that had a creek behind his house. Yeah. Like he had like this nature park and this actual creek, and we were down there catching crawdads and stuff. Like, I mean, we were in like you know, kind of ankle deep in the mud sometimes, literally, and our hands in the thing. And maybe there's something to be said for it. And I think, like I said, causation, correlation, and devil's advocate here is good too, because like I said, I'm not the arbiter of truth. I never have been. I never will be. And it's good. It's good to look at things a little bit differently and just consider what we're missing. That's the whole point of this. But yeah, I was lucky enough to have that experience when I was young, and I know many others were not. Again, I grew up in the East Bay, California, and you know, say what you want about California, but it is gorgeous there most times of the year. And so, yeah, especially if you're in the right spot, and I was certainly in the right spot. Yeah,
and I'm not sure if it's like if nature's kind of getting a little bit scarier. Like over the past 25, 30 years, that we've kind of subconsciously adjusted to where like I would spend like during the summer, be outside all the time in the woods all the time. Like if I was to walk barefoot on like my front lawn right now, I wouldn't freak out, but a part of me would be like, I wonder if there's any bugs I'm stepping on. I could be rolling around in the muck as a little kid, and it wouldn't make any difference. And I wasn't the kid who like dove in the literal swamp when we were like catching toads and stuff. But like my friend was, and there was a one brave kid who, it wasn't brave, quote unquote, it was disgusting. And I'm glad I didn't do it, but like it wasn't that weird to do. And now the idea of even standing on the side of the swamp barefoot, touching toads, touching spiders and stuff, and grabbing like handling bugs and stuff, it's I would never do that now. And it's weird that I'm the same person, I guess. Or like today, like the leaves are starting to fall and pile up and stuff. And I live in a complex, so I don't have to do as much yard work as I did as a kid growing up, like in a house. But there was a little pile of leaves on the walkway walking to my car, and I just like had to walk through it, and it was a little bit over my shoes. And my first thought was like, oh no, I don't want to get like little bugs in my shoes. Let me check like my socks, because if I'm going to bed, I don't want to get bugs in my bed and stuff. And I'm thinking, listen to the show. As a kid, I couldn't wait to rake the leaves into a pile and dive in it. And like, there's so many pictures of me as a little kid, just like picking up from a pile of leaves and stuff. And now my first thought is like, I better like take my socks off, because I don't want any like fire ants in my socks. I was like, what's happened to me? You know, what's happened to society? You know.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna drink, but I swear I have a good idea here, but
no problem.
Sorry, good.
No, that's you already know. Like this is a human space for humans to talk to each other. So sort of the meandering is what this is all about. So absolutely, don't even worry about it. Yeah, and it's the same thing too, right? I'm kind of I'm not a hobbit anymore. I have to have socks on, even in my house, right? If I'm walking barefoot, like on the tile or even on the carpet, it creeps me out. But however, I recognize that I'm kind of that softy as you're describing. Like I'm kind of like the old softy that never should have been. I should be more hobbit-like. So I'll put that on my list for 2026 to walk around barefoot more. And part of it's because I have ugly toes. TMI, I know, but that's part of it. But anyway.
I mean, I think they might get better looking if they're in the dirt a little bit more. I kind of do actually believe that.
I think you may be right. Actually, we'll put that to the test.
Like especially like I'm a ginger, so I'm like a real fair skin. So I have like a clear images of like my feet like in like mid-June, and then my feet at like much tanner and dirtier and I think it might have been better looking in beginning of September and stuff. But just like the nature part of it, I wonder if there is a change that we're kind of noticing, because I want to go in the woods, especially like I have the missing 411 fear that keeps me from exploring the woods by myself. Like I have all the rabbit holes with like the different like the river portals, and like I want to look at the landscapes. I have areas that I drive by that I do want to check out, but I do have a real fear of like at least I need one other person with me so I don't get disappeared somehow when going in the woods. But also this slight fear of like ticks a little bit, and I don't know. I feel like it's not a bad fear to have. I feel like if I go to the woods, like I should check myself maybe for ticks afterwards. But as a kid, I never would have thought of that. I never had ticks as a kid. Is this like, are there more ticks? Is there more West Nile? Are there more bugs in the pile of leaves than there were as a kid that's preventing me subconsciously from diving in them? Zika. Probably not, but yeah, exactly. I just want to throw that in the mix here. And just for the schools and like mixing like this stuff in, it reminds me of like Montessori schools, which is like my mind goes right to Kanye. Kanye's trying to make his own school. He calls it the Montessori school, but it's called Montessori education. It's a person's name. I'm not sure how long ago, like a few decades ago, created the idea of more hands-on education, like out of the classroom, more personalized stuff. I think they go outside, and that's been going around that's been on for like 15 years. And there's a show, Love on Netflix by Judd Apatow, which is really funny. One of my favorite shows. Came out in like 2015, 2016, and they're talking about they're all like Gen X young parents, or like they're single and they're going to their friend's house who do have kids, and they're like annoyed by how they keep talking about their kids. And the example was they're talking about the schools that their kids are in. Oh yeah, my school? They have this school special program. But my school, they're doing farming. My kids' school, they're out in the dirt, and what do you got? I got to pay to have my kids play in the dirt. Like when I was a kid, we did that for free and that type of stuff. And that was like 10 years ago, and the kids are 5, so the kids are like 15 now. So I'm thinking, how often are people complaining about these Gen Z kids? How often are people complaining about young kids, whatever? And some of these young kids have been playing in the dirt. Montessori school's been going on for a long time. And these programs of outdoor programs have been going on for long. Like we are seeing the fruits of this a little bit, and people don't really like these kids that much. So it's just like, are we sure? Like,
hold on though. You know me in the generational stuff. It pisses me off a ton because you got some crap. Again, shout out our boomers. Just because there's some bad boomers doesn't make all the boomers bad, right? And you can take that down the line, Gen X and all the. Again, even the new ones. The new. I don't even know what the latest generation is named. I've lost track. The Zoomers or Gen Z, Alpha something.
Gen Z. I'm not sure what the newest Beta. I guess would be that one.
Is it Beta? Yeah. Whatever. God, is it?
I'm not sure.
Not Beta. Please.
Hopefully not Beta. That'd be a tough one.
I think it may be though, which is the craziest part. But you know me, like that stuff really grinds my gears because obviously you can't take a small subsection of people who are jerks, because there's jerks in every generation, and then extrapolate it onto the entire generation. It's knuckleheaded. It's bigoted. It's the definition of bigoted, and it's just not my thing. It's never been my thing. It pisses me off a lot, and you know it. And I know you didn't bring it up to trigger me. It just triggers me when that sentiment is kind of brought about. And I know you're not saying it. You agree with me. You're like, no, it's not, because these people
1,000% I agree. 1,000% I agree. In a way, I'm kind of trying to trigger you. Yeah, go ahead.
Are you? Okay.
A little bit. I'll explain why, but go ahead.
Okay. No, go ahead. Let me wave my arms and be triggered then. Go ahead.
Yeah. Not you in particular, but I like using the generation metaphors when I do the devil's advocate thing. Like, because I need like consistency amongst the conversations. So I'm annoyed by it because for the last 10 years it's been millennial, and now it's transitioned to Gen Z a little bit more. But still, just the generation, like exactly like you just said, it annoys me, and I think it's wrong. But it also super annoys me when some nights, oh, these kids, they don't want to work. Oh, these kids, blah 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 blah. These kids are so weak or whatever. And then another night in these type of communities, oh, the indigo kids, the star children, these special kids with powers and everything. And it's just, well, which is it? Are the kids have powers, or the laziest kids in the world in the future is going to die? You know, Chris Knowles does this all the time, where he's like, enjoy running water because these kids aren't going to be able to like picture pipes growing up. And the next moment he's saying like, everything is precious and awesome, and humans are all gods and everything. It's, well, which is it? Like, is this next generation not going to be gods because they have an iPad? It doesn't make this sense. I feel like maybe
exactly.
Maybe.
No, we agree.
So my point was,
we are lockstep. Yeah. Go with your point. Sorry.
Yeah. So the point with that was just like, so in theory, or I do think it'd be great to incorporate these things into school and stuff. And there's in these communities, the return to nature is very idolized and stuff. But I just want to point out that like we kind of seeing the results of this, and I'm not necessarily sure it's going to give the benefits that we're all thinking about, and especially in the nobody wants to work anymore context. Like Robert said it, I think it was Robert, or maybe Matt Fowler, that school's designed to create workers and stuff. So by removing kids from the classroom, I'm not sure if it's going to create a great workforce that's going to be like signing up for your crew if you're a foreman. I think it might be a workforce that's like, I'm not, wait, I got to work for how much? I got to give you how many hours for how much? No, I don't want to do that anymore. And that's might be what you were saying with Gen Z. Gen Z is not lazy. Like they're also doing the grind hard, hustle hard. It's all about trying to make money, but they're also like, well, I don't want to toil and do. I mean, so I think we might like, what benefit, what result are we looking for, from these changes that we're trying to make and stuff? And like, is it some kind of like kind of create Wall Street people like from I don't know, like by removing people from the classroom, it might like also in turn collapse some of these parts of society that might not be working the way we want them to, or might be the way they should be. And one of the first symptoms of that might seem like, oh, nobody wants to work. Everyone's so lazy. Are they lazy, or is it like, are they just looking at the system for what it is?
I think you're spot on. I have a very quick story about that. A friend of mine, we both worked at this company in 1999. Okay. I won't mention the company name. Don't want to get sued. However, I left after 6-ish years, 7 years, something like that. Okay. Did all kinds. I've done all kinds of things in my life. He stayed for 26 years. And this year they laid him off. And not only that, they gave him 6 months of severance, and that was it. And probably a bunch of lip service. And so this is the reality you're describing, is that when you recognize that you are literally just a number, no matter what human relationships you do make, if you're not looking out for yourself all the damn time, then nobody is. Then who's wrong here? And I'm with you. You're absolutely right. We're recognizing this, and this is sort of the backlash of, the lazy generations or whatever. So I'm with you. Again, like I said, we're different generations here, but we're smart enough to recognize that the systems are being destroyed. It's crumbling, and we have less faith in it. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then hypothetically, I mean, that person's kids are going to see that, be like, well, wow, my dad's a hard worker. He worked really hard for all this time, and then he was screwed. Like, so I'm not going to be incentivized to want to do that. Like, does that make me lazy because I don't want to sign up for a corporate job, or I don't want to do the trade that this person wants to do, or et cetera, et cetera? I'm not sure. I don't know. These are just questions. I'm going to go a little quicker just because we're running low on time. Basically, I think like nothing is really going to work well if like you're super neurotic. Your kids are going to be super neurotic, and these weird, like I'm noticing a lot of my neuroses are from my parents and stuff. Obviously, I think like a lot of people's are. And that if you're like, there's also the kind of the stereotype of the weird homeschooled kid, like that kid of the joke 2015 parents talk about my kids playing in the dirt or whatever. Those kids now kind of like weirdos a little bit, and it's just like
modern hippies.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like that's because the characters in this comedy show were neurotic and stuff. So they were past. So it doesn't matter with the environment they were bringing these kids around. They were attached to this neurotic person who was radiating these neuroses onto this person and stuff. So, like, I think if you want to take care of your kids first and foremost, or like do the best for your kids, you want to like make sure you're all set and take care of your problems, because your kids, like, you're the biggest influence on your kids more than the. I have no kids, so I have no idea what I'm talking about. Just in theory, like the classroom is very important, but it's secondary. Like your internal world is probably the most important thing. I want to do a thing about like, could you talk about the Oracle or whatever, or just and so if like we're not working on the core problems, there's a thing called like you talk about microbiome and stuff, and there's a thing called the poop transplants. Have you heard of this?
Yes, I sure have. But the Kardashians are doing it, right? The Kardashians.
Oh, it's real weird, and it's just exactly what you think it is. You take somebody else's poop and put it into your butt, and it's supposed to change your microbiome in your gut and make you healthier. And South Park did a hilarious episode about it. But that seems like a real adjusting the system, and like sounds like, oh, like you're changing the microbiome, you sounds holistic, but it's like also sounds really gross and disgusting, and like you're not changing any of your behavior. You're taking somebody else's thing and literally shoving it up your butt and hoping it changes something or whatever. and if you don't change your neuroses, it doesn't matter if you're bringing your kid to a bare class covered in white walls or in the woods. If they're coming home to somebody who's like angry and neurotic and anxious and putting that on their kids, then they're going to be angry and neurotic and weird too. And then just like the natural thing, like the where we come from aspect of it, is that important? I mean, is that what we're supposed to be doing? Or are we supposed to be progressing and incorporating things from the past, like into the future, and like going to the past, going backwards might not be what we're supposed to do necessarily doing. And like, is the future going to be like science experiments? We power a light bulb with a potato on a huge scale with like laptops and stuff, incorporating technology into nature. Or like future oracles or whatever, going to be like, if we're in this weird kind of drawn techno society, going to touch like the Ethernet cables, like wired technology is going to be considered sacred or whatever. And it's just like, I don't know, like Duncan Trussell tells a story where he was tripping and he was under a tree and he thought he was like experiencing messages from the tree, and he was feeling this buzzing and this electricity. Oh, it felt so warm and good. I'm getting this download from this tree. And then you looked up and there's a power line right above the tree, and it's like the power line doing it and stuff. And so it's just like, I don't know. It's just, that was supposed to be more eloquent and better, but I squeezed it all in 2 minutes because I rambled too much. But just, I just want to throw out like outside's important, inside's very important. Yes, incorporate nature, but also like, yeah, I don't know. I hope we understood a point there. But sorry for rambling.
No, you're good.
Yes.
But okay, and you're right, and I agree with you. There's this weird spot where you have to be able to synthesize all of it, and this is where modern humans we fall short, because we weren't built for this. We were built to sort of find the problem, overcome the problem, and then sort of proceed with society. But now we're inundated, and I'm with you. I agree. Look, we probably agree more than you think we do here, but.
No, definitely. Yeah.
And I don't know how we fix this, because so much information is being cascaded upon us that we can't, again, differentiate what's true and what's not anymore. That hyper reality, and that's the whole point. And I know that's the point we're making together. But yeah, welcome to it, man. It's horrific.
Yeah, good show. Wow stuff.
And
thank you, bro.
Fantastic call. Always a pleasure. You're the best. You know we love him. Derek the Night Stalker. Please give him a follow. troubledminds.org/friends. You can find him stalking by dark of night, and part of that invisible process. And yeah, what do you guys think? Like I said, I know I'm a bit of a mess tonight, all over the place, but that's what happens when everything breaks. Yeah, when all your stuff breaks and you have your technology working or not working. It's okay. All right. Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up. What do you think? There's a lot here, and it's complicated, and that's the entire point. More on the way. Don't go anywhere. Here is your Midnight Stargate ritual. Midnight Eastern Time, Daylight Savings Time. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting, and of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're taking your calls. I'm calling this the Oracle's Prescription. Let's go to the blurb. Is it possible that something as simple as mud and ancient water could hold the key to healthier lives and deeper understanding? Can touching Earth's oldest materials truly shape our bodies and minds, restoring connections lost to modern life? And I think there's a lot of wisdom there. But I think Derek put his finger on something incredible as well, that it's not the answer to everything. And if you've listened to me for any amount of time, you know me. I'm not the arbiter of truth. It's not what I've ever tried to be. I'm starting to recognize in my old age, and I'm not really old, but you know what I mean. You start to think that the things you knew and the things that made you who you are were important. But also, by the way, maybe those influences could have been different, could have been better. It's one of the reasons I talk about identity a lot because we touched on generations a little bit with Derek's call there. It's this complicated stuff, and I don't think there's a magic pill for any of this, but I do think, and I've regarding identity, I've pigeonholed myself as a weirdo, right? From the ancient ways, from the ancient days, right? Like, let's not forget our past because it's important to our future. And I stand by that, and I'll be that weirdo because it's important to me. However, I also don't even like, I'm not like a, druid put my toes in the dirt guy either. Right. But my point is I recognize the value in mixing these ideas and talking about this stuff. But anyway, you guys are the best. Thanks for all the great calls tonight. Like I said, new format going forward. Well, tonight is the last show, by the way, for the year. We're not going to be back before January 1st. I don't know when it will happen, but like I said, I've got some life changes happening here, and it's nothing drastic or dire. It's just normal stuff. It's normal stuff that happens as part of being a human in the world. So it's not that I don't love you or just trust me. Things need to be handled. Like, stability is key and important to a good mental health space and everything else, staying out of the desert heat and all the rest. So there are things that need to be handled. So please trust me on that. This is not I'm not having a mental health crisis. Like I said, my marriage is fine. It's not a money thing. It's just a sort of strategic thing where we're in in a space where we have some time to kind of figure things out. And so we're going to figure some things out. And instead, I'm going to peel some time off of Troubled Minds to do that, and then be back hopefully as soon as possible after the first of the year, and keep slaying it and talking about wild ideas. And all I can hope is that when that happens, that you guys will come back. And I recognize that the possibility is there that you won't, but it's okay, because when I started, Frank and I, the original co-host, streamed to nobody. Nobody. So I've been there before, and it's okay. And I'm not even worried about it, other than hurting your guys' feelings, which is not what I want to do whatsoever. So we'll get to that. And as we wrap this is the season finale of Troubled Minds. So if you got something to say, you want to pop in here and say hi or whatever, say, Mike, don't come back or whatever, that's fine. My ego's fine. But that's where we're at. So tonight is the last show. There will be no Troubled Minds until after the first of the year. Just got some things to handle. James, welcome back. If you got anything, you're welcome to it. Of course, I know this is not your wheelhouse here, and I'm sorry that I didn't put one that was in your wheelhouse tonight. But if you got anything on what Derek said or anything else, there's a lot here. I think generationally, we have a conversation to be had, don't we?
I mean, how I don't understand why you wouldn't make this all about ghosts. I'm sorry, Mike. I just don't know. I'm kidding. You do not have to put everything in my wheelhouse.
I know. I know. I'm just making fun of you a little bit and making fun of ourselves a little bit.
But and I mean, I'm hoping everything goes well with everything, with you and with everyone for the rest of this year, and looking forward to the second best show on all of reality coming back. When you get back. So, but it's funny you two were talking about triggers and all that, and there's one trigger that I think kind of mine that touches on this subject. We were talking about sort of the past and the future and nature, but also the future as in maybe being inside more with technology more. And one of my triggers, for those that don't know, and this is just me, but is this idea that we need to go back to the Stone Age. That technology, that computers, all that stuff should go away completely. And that's a problem for me for a lot of reasons. But what I will say is I think there should be a balance of everything. I think that in a perfect world, if that was possible, everything would be balanced. And that would involve nature, that would involve being able to go out and be in nature whenever you want to easily, not just traveling however far to get there to be in that environment, but also still having access to the things that, the systems that we have now, just not controlled maybe by a select few in the world as it is right now.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking about that balance of everything.
Yeah, which is a symptom of the internet. Like the decentralization of ideas is what's causing the chaos. Because before this, go back to 1967 or whatever, 1972, they had like three TV stations and, radio stations that were sanctioned by the state and all this stuff. We've talked about this in the past a lot. And it's obvious to see why we've all been indoctrinated into this propaganda space of what we believe. And like I said, for me, the fractal of that is recognizing that me in this moment is not the best me I could be. I do my best, but it doesn't mean I was given the best opportunity. And that's why I talk about these ideas, because I think it's very easy to defend your ego, and not you specifically, not me specifically, I think in the general sense here, but because we're like, Mom, I'm a Kabbalist, Mom, a socialist, rah, whatever, right? All those things. However, the space we live in has been, there's an all-time low in trust in the system I think for a lot of reasons. And that's, like I said, welcome to the 2025. And it's more complicated than we can ever dream. And I think the narrative space is the most important part here to me. Not just the storytelling of the campfire stories of old and bringing old wisdom into the new age, but also the fact that we've been kind of bamboozled in that sense, that a lot of the stuff we've been told is fake. And we've been propagandized from the time we were born, and we will be to the time we die. And it's beyond unfortunate. And so it's good that the system is kind of having that fractal moment, but it's also bad because we're building chaos and we're building our own disinformation. We're built, 55,000 draconian soldiers on the comet that are about to invade Earth. Like I said, I'm willing to bet against that. If anybody wants to take my money, I'm willing to bet against that. But my point is, I'm not the arbiter of truth, but I'm just saying that like suddenly we have our own counter propaganda and it is off the rails because of the internet. We are accelerating hyper reality, which is not the best either. And so which is it? Like, which do you want? And the old control systems go all the way back to the Code of Hammurabi and right, like the Magna Carta and like the building of this space that brought us modern society. But now we're kind of bucking against it because we recognize full well that justice is not real. Justice is a fabricated idea of who's in power, right? The power to prosecute is a power to persecute. And it's always been that way. It's just, if you don't get mugged on the street, you're happy with that system. You get it? I mean, I'm on a tangent here off the rails, but you see what I'm saying. I want to read this real quick too, and then back to you, James. And if you guys want to pipe in here and give us your take, troubledminds.org, click the Discord link, 702-957-1037. The Robert over on Rumble adds this. Thank you again for the generous donation. He says, Orange Man trying to fix a broken system that the deep state wants to keep. And I'm not even sure that's entirely true. I think maybe the first time. I think the second time, the Orange Man knew exactly what he was doing and exactly how to handle and manipulate the deep state for himself. Just saying. I'm so split on this stuff, but I don't trust any of them. Any of those people in power drive me nuts. And that's why I say the Orange Man, because I just don't even want to say the man's name. He turns my stomach. James, anything on that? You don't have to go political, but there's a ton here, ton to talk about, obviously.
Oh, my political views are simple. I hate politics, and I don't trust any politicians. But yeah, I'm just thinking about. Actually, I was thinking about something and I lost it. Oh, prophecy. That's what it was. The idea of prophecy to me is amazing because with so many of these things, I'm thinking about the when it comes to the comet and all these things and other events throughout time, where there's supposed to be this doomsday or this alien, what do you call it, an invasion or arrival. How often has that not happened when it's been suggested or thought? And from people that thought they were getting actual messages, and maybe they were. We don't know. But how often are these things brought up and then they don't happen the way that they're supposed to, supposedly? And so, again, I don't know. It's just the nature of past, present, and future, I think, is just so slippery. And when it comes to the comet now and everything, whatever happens will happen. I'm not going to worry about any kind of sort of ideas of what it might be, because until things happen, we really don't know. Things can go any number of directions.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, that's why I do it the way I do. I don't tell you I know anything. I tell you, here's what my intuition suggests. Let's talk about it. And if I'm wrong, so be it. That's been my premise the entire time doing this show is, look, I'm probably wrong about this, but this is what the internet says. I'm probably wrong about this, but my intuition suggests. And that's the point. That's the point. If we're not doing that as humans, to me, we're doing ourselves a disservice, because a lot of these things, and going back to the idea of this has been discussed ad nauseum in the past on this show, but the idea of a reality anchor. Think of this in terms of who you are in the moment, what you believe or what you don't believe. You could be a truther movement person or whatever, right? Or you could believe that that 9/11 was an inside job and all stuff, right? And I'm not saying one way or the other, true or false. But if you believe that to your soul, to your core, and you will never change your mind on that, it's become your identity. You see what I mean? And so those types of things are nodes in our life that shape us and make us become that person, that space, that mind space of ourselves. And if we're unrelenting and unwilling to change our minds, then the point is of dogma cycles, what's the difference? If you believe this or you believe that, and you're unwilling to yield no matter what, you've just chosen a different dogma cycle. That's my point. That's why I'm here. Not because I'm telling you, each individual out there hearing this, that you're wrong. I'm telling you that I fear that I'm wrong about everything. And do you not fear the same thing for yourself? That's why I'm here. Yeah. I don't know. It's complicated, man. It's complicated. And pinning me into a corner about anything is, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just don't know. There's so much propaganda that we've been raised on, that we literally has been a part of our lives forever. That in this particular sense, in this particular space, we believe things, even collectively. But are those things true? Those reality anchors collectively have led us astray in a lot of ways. So that's it. Like I said, the fractal idea of kind of breaking these ideas down is what brings me back. Challenging myself that I may or may not be wrong about something. And then seeing new ideas or old ideas and then putting them through the gauntlet of conversation. That's it. That's it. Again, we're about to wrap this up unless anybody wants to pop in here and say, hi, James, anything else? And then we'll wind this down, and then no troubled minds until God knows when. I mean, because tomorrow's never guaranteed. Am I right?
That's true. Yeah, no, just glad to be here. I am taking a week off myself, but I will be back after that week for my podcast as well, Salcedo Paranormal. But yeah, so I'll be around and looking forward to talking with you all going forward.
You are the man. You are the man. You know him. You love him. Salcedo Paranormal is the man. Please go give him a follow on all the places, troubledminds.org/friends. You just simply scroll down, and after you click friends, scroll down, and it says follow James here. Or, of course, just go to salcedoparanormal.com, SALSIDO paranormal.com. You'll find him right there on the top or in the middle, alphabetically James. And yeah, this is complicated. This is complicated stuff. Like I said, I'm in a nebulous space, too, in the conspiracy environment, right? I'm not hook, line, and sinker on all the UFO stuff. I'm not hook, line, and sinker on all the 9/11 stuff. I'm not hook, line, and sinker on all the jab stuff. I'm trying to figure out what the hell's going on and trying to recognize in myself that those reality anchors could be valuable or they could be entirely detrimental. Depends on what you pick. Depends on who you choose your identity to be. That's that. What's up, Stephen England? I see you there. Daryl in New York, what's going on? You're on Troubled Minds. Thanks for popping in here. How are you tonight? Welcome, and just unmute. It's all yours. Go right ahead.
There's my unmute button. Oh, good. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. You sound great.
Oh, good enough. I wasn't actually ready. If you want to take somebody in front of me, please do so.
You're it. I can ramble on a little bit if you want to wait. No problem.
Okay, ramble slightly. Okay, let me mute. Let me mute for a second.
Okay, you're good. Ramble slightly. Okay, good. Okay, so back to this. Now, I'm calling this the Oracle's prescription because if you go read the write-up, like I said, the write-up is very good. It does way better at a narrative than I do. But here's the thing, right? So the Oracle at Delphi inhaled ethylene gas rising from geological fissures, touched the sacred Omphalos stone, swallowed laurel leaves, then delivered prophecies that shaped empires. Before entering her trance, the Pythia bathed in sacred springs, ritual purification through contact with Earth's waters. For over 1,000 years, Greek citizens trusted that geological forces channeled through a human body could reveal these hidden truths. And that's the point. And now we're talking about modern Finland has produced its own oracles. But instead of predicting the future, they're prescribing it. And they're saying, literally, touch grass. Don't eat the mud, but certainly spend time gardening. And I wonder if there's been studies done on this. I didn't do the deep dive in that particular capacity, but I do wonder if people that have gardens and spend time with the earth in their fingers actually have longer lifespans. And that wouldn't surprise me a single bit as part of that, the ecological aspect of our immune systems and out there in the dirt where we should be, because it's where we came from, right? I mean, we are stardust, yes, but then beyond that, we're also of the world, of this earth, of Gaia. So I don't know. I mean, there's a lot here. It's complicated, and like I said, and I think I know my what is it? My nemesis is my own self, because I could literally choose a thing and just rage hard and tell you it's the truth. I could, and probably be way more popular and way more interesting and way more viral or whatever. But let me tell you what, it wouldn't be the truth of myself, who's not trying to gain more reality anchors. I'm trying to ditch them. I'm trying to recognize where I went wrong and right those wrongs. You see? Like I've always said, this stuff is complicated. And if you find somebody with easy answers, buyer beware. That's where my mind's at. That's what Troubled Minds has always been about. And that's that. You guys are the best. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for staying up late with us. Daryl, if you're ready, cool. If not, I'll ramble on a little bit more.
I don't have that much, but what did I want to say? Oh, yeah. I think I was just thinking about, continuing this conversation. Maybe we could do a Twitter space. I've been kind of like listening to Twitter spaces. If you're on Twitter, you kind of see who's live, and then you go into the room that interests you the most. Because I don't think you have to be following anyone necessarily to see what's live on Twitter. So if the conversation is interesting, you just jump in the room and see what they're talking about. And people are so into that, like they're kind of hopping from, like space hopping. And, sometimes you find yourself in a room that they're talking about maybe your religion or, your medical situation, whatever. It's still interesting to kind of see what people are talking about. And I thought maybe we should have a Troubled Mind space just for whatever. I'm not sure how they work or how to start one, but just saying, and some of these go on all night. There's always a Jeffrey Epstein room, it seems.
Of course there is.
They're always, I don't know why, it has the most people sometimes, except for Alex Jones, maybe. Just saying, I think it would be an interesting place to have. I don't know what's involved in creating one, but I don't even know, you can record them, I'm not sure how they edit 8 hours of stuff, if they even edit them.
They don't edit them. They don't edit them. No. There are some UFO entities that literally are on spaces for like 16 or 18 hours a day. I don't know. And they start them up, and then people come in and people talk, and there's almost no moderation. And the reason I don't do them, by the way, like that is because when there's no moderation, things spin out of control, and you get some people saying, as you've seen some horrific stuff, and it's like, stop it. Yes, exactly. And it's like, come, really? Seriously? Like, we're having a conversation about consciousness and you want to talk about Tues or whatever. It's like,
right. Oh boy, they're really beating a dead horse there. It's like nonstop.
Right. Which is my
the
point.
People that are anti-Semitic are tired of it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So you get what I'm saying. So we've done spaces in the past, but without, and look, if you want to call me a draconian moderator or whatever, fine, so be it. Like we take a person or two at a time, and we kind of flesh these ideas out, and we talk about this stuff. But yeah, if you're going to come on here and like be belligerent and stupid and call me names or whatever, raise your voice at me. Look, I don't do that to you. Why would you do that to me? And I'm not saying you, but just as a reciprocal energy space. So I don't know, like that type of thing. The Twitter, the X space is just so. It's so toxic anymore, which is like because everybody can speak their mind, and you get some true knuckleheads out there that are like, the this or the that. Look, I'm telling you, big pharma is not the same as to Jews. The Jews. I mean, dear God. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. Not to derail.
No, you're right. You're right. But I'm just saying. I don't know. It'd be nice to have a little community room, but I don't know. It doesn't matter. I just think, well, maybe can you make your own rules there as far as like moderation goes? And they have moderators in those rooms.
Yeah, they do.
I've seen moderators.
They do.
Yeah,
they do. But here's the thing, right? So when you have like those long ass spaces that are like 6 or 8 hours, you can't listen to every word. You're going to go get some food or whatever. And just runs or whatever, which is why that type of stuff kind of happens. And like I said, I don't know. It's complicated. And the other reason why, by the way, is because we don't have a massive following that uses X that would have this type of conversation with us. So, well, maybe when we get back, I'll start doing some more of that stuff, or maybe I'll sneak in and do, kind of a Twitter space here or there on Friday nights, wink, wink, from here to there.
That was kind of the plant I was putting in you. Okay.
Okay. So if you guys haven't made it an X account, please do that. And maybe we could sort of have some of these conversations, kind of off. It's on the record, by the way, so that people are recording that crap 24/7, even if you think they're not. So it's certainly on the record, but kind of have like a off, take some pressure off me to do some stuff. So maybe it's on the back burner, and maybe we'll do that.
I'd like to do an experiment. Actually, is to do a schedule Twitter space, and we all share it and see how it grows. You know what I'm saying? We could do that. What do you think about that? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, all manner of social experiments. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because they do that in one of the rooms I'm in. It's called like Stop the Shots, I think, or Crimes Against Humanity, something like that. They say, please share this and, and post it and share it. So that's the idea, is to put it on your profile, page when you share it, and then you retweet it when you see it on somebody else's face. So we could kind of hopefully make your base grow that way, perhaps.
Yeah. There are active people all over X. And it's weird too, by the way, like I'm in this ambiguous space, like I said, like I've been describing, this identity anchor stuff, the reality anchor of identity is we've had like we don't grow like this. We go like gain some, lose some, gain some, lose some. It's like that. And if you look at the Discord, this has happened recently. If you look at the Discord, we hit 1,000 people like the last week, and now it's back to 996. So people are like, nah, this isn't for me. So
or people, all right, maybe they don't like Discord though. I wouldn't take it personally, because people are not, even my karaoke groups tried the Discord to do karaoke, which would have been a great thing if they could have figured it out, and they just didn't like the platform. I don't know why, because I think it's so easy.
No.
It's great.
My point in bringing that up is not because I take it personally, is because we're different. We're very different. I'm different as part of these conversations. Right. Like I said, if I wanted to be viral and be ridiculous, I could be as viral and ridiculous as I want to be. But it's dishonest to me, and so I'm here honestly, in earnest, as it says in the intro there. And so I'm not trying to do that. And if it's to the detriment of the community, I'm sorry about that. But that's why I'm here. My ideas, and I think you're right. And keep an eye on X. If you guys haven't followed me and Daryl on X, you should. please, Daryl, drop your X to me, and I'll share it in the chat here.
Sure, I'll do that. I'll definitely do that.
Okay.
And let's see, I had a joke or two about the podcasters here.
Sure.
I just wanted to say, what do you call a monk that has a podcast?
No idea.
An air fryer.
Of course you do.
That's really bad. And I don't know if I get this myself, but there's a better one. There was a podcast about I was listening to about a blood-sucking arthropod, but one day they got taken down. I guess it was because of the end of their TikTok, Anyway, that was bad. That was terrible. Okay.
I didn't think so.
Okay. All right. I'm glad you did. And how many podcasters does it take to change a light bulb?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Well, you need one to fully understand why we first have to travel back in time into the year, 1985, let's say, to fully understand why we have to travel back, why we have to time travel. All right, that was terrible. Okay, I'm done.
You're good. The retro causal aspect of the podcasters. Always a pleasure, Daryl. Thank you very much. Please send me your X account, and I will share that with the group. Go follow Daryl in all the places. troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down a little bit. Follow Daryl. It says it's alphabetical. She'll be kind of near the top because D is kind of near the top of the alphabet. And we're going to get her X account here. I don't know. There's a bunch of people on X, and it's another audience and stuff. But like I said, it's just so. And look, this is the danger of kind of speaking against a platform. Is somebody out there's listening that loves X more than they love me, and they're gonna look, this MFer hates X and he hates all of us, and look what he said. I think there's a lot of toxicity there. I mean, it's just how I feel. It's what I've experienced, but there's also a lot of wonderful, beautiful people there as well. Right. So curate your feed. It's important. You're the best, Daryl. Appreciate the call. Give her a follow in all the places. I'll share her X account, and we'll talk about that. Thanks again for popping in here. And James, anything else? We got a couple calls we'll get to, and we'll finish this up.
No, just great calls from everyone, and looking forward to the rest.
James, always the pro answers. It's almost as if he's a large language model himself. We're going to start a poll after this. Do you think that James is a real person? Just kidding. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link. Joe in Florida. What's up, brother? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you, sir? Unmute. And what's on your mind? Go right ahead.
How about now? Am I good?
Got you, buddy.
All right. Well, I just wanted to say I wish you well with everything. And since I don't really have any socials, but anybody here that listens and everything, have a good holiday season. Hopefully we'll all be in the same room when you get back on. I assume you'll still be in the Discord, maybe floating around for a little chat here and there. But that's it. I mean, I wish I had X and all the other socials. I DJ'd all weekend, and all the kids wanted my whatever it is, Venmo, and they wanted to know if I had an Instagram and all of this stuff. And I just kind of tell them no, and I laugh. And then they asked for my DJ name, which I actually gave them my friend's name because it's usually his night, but I just back him up. So they're like, what? That's not your name? I go, yeah, it's my name. So I just claim my other buddy's identity. That's it.
It's your new reality anchor. I'm that guy.
Exactly. Well, it's a DJ thing because DJs typically don't trust each other, but me and my buddy have DJed together forever, and I'm just his backup guy. That's it. I don't need to have too much of an ego, even though it's fun when I have fun. So then it's fun for a weekend, and that's it. But yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed listening to the show on and off for many years. Everybody here seems friendly and positive, which is good. It's good to get a little bit of positive conversation going when it's late at night at home. God knows we could be doing much worse. I don't play in the dirt that often anymore, but it was interesting and totally true. So about the way we grew up, probably a little bit hardened. But anyway, so that's it. I wish you luck if I plan a trip to Vegas next year. I will let you know. But so far I have Hawaii and Puerto Rico. And I'm sure there's some other things the wife is going to want to do that I can't afford. Have a good night. I'll let the other people.
Appreciate the call. Be well. Don't spend a ton, and live it up. As usual, more than anybody else, tomorrow is not guaranteed.
Oh man, for sure. Do I know?
Before you go, YY over there on Rumble says, Joe, thanks for the awesome Halloween show. Plural show.
Thank you. Those were a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yeah, if I get any more stories, I'll write them up. I honestly would love to do a screenplay and try to put it on TV, even if it was if it was 2 10-episode seasons. I wish I knew somebody that would do that, because I think it would be hysterical. I have so much. Alrighty, good night.
You're the best. Appreciate the call. Joe in Florida, good friend for a long time. God bless, travel safe, and all the rest of that stuff. Finishing this up. And like I said, I'm not running because I'm scared of this and ideas and all the rest and feedback. And I legitimately have real life stuff to do. And it's normal. This is normal stuff. This is, like I said, thank God nobody's sick. My marriage isn't destroyed. All the rest of that. Like, it's not a money thing. It's just something that happens in life that you got to deal with. So as far as like handle it goes, it's as good as it could be. So that's that. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Pete in Georgia. What's up, brother? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you? Go right ahead.
Mike, how you doing, brother?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, James.
Hello.
Listen, hey, life happens, and you got to take care of that. You got to take care of yourself first. You got to take care of the family first, and you got to, sometimes just, you got to take a break. Sometimes you got to take a break. And I just want to say thank you for accepting me into the community, and thank you for all the love, and everybody's been great. So it's not a goodbye, it's just a see you later.
Amen. Absolutely. And you're certainly welcome here, and you're one of us. What's that, the meme? Nah, one of us, or whatever it is. And I think the thing about us in this group is that once you arrive and you're like, yeah, you know what, these are my people, is because of that sort of fractured identity. We're all very different. Well, we're all kind of looking at very similar ideas and very similar things. And that's the point of these conversations. So absolutely. If you feel comfortable here, thank you for being here. I'm glad you're here. And that's the whole point of this. Let's talk about ideas that are not talked about regularly. And by the way, do me a favor, because I know you have the situation going on in your house that is possibly haunted, and you got somebody coming in to kind of handle that. Please take some notes on that when it happens. And when we get back, we'll talk about that at length if you feel up to it. Okay.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. No, I'm looking for him to get in here next month. This month. And are you keeping the Discord up, or are you taking it down?
No, everything stays. There's nothing changes. There's still 1,100 plus podcast episodes. The Discord's up. I'll be active on the Discord. I just won't be doing the show. So I'm not dead. I'm just taking a, what's it called? A hiatus.
A sabbatical.
There you go. That's what I was looking for. A sabbatical. That's all. Just a quick sabbatical. And then once things are fixed, we'll be back in some capacity. Oh, and by the way, too, I'm glad you asked that. And we're talking about it, is I will also be doing other short form content in the time being from here to there, because, you can't shake this out of your system. These ideas, you just can't shake that. You get inspiration. You got to get it out of you. So there will be some stuff, and I will link them on the Discord. I'll link them on Twitter X. I'll drop them in all the socials. So if you're not following on all the socials, you should be, because there's going to be some cool stuff that happens between here and there when we come back. So just an FYI.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll definitely follow you guys on X. I do have a X account. I'm not active on it, but I'll have to get more active on it. But no, I will definitely keep you updated once we get him in here. Now that he's kind of winding down a little bit. But I will say this, over the past few days, the activities ramped up a little bit. My parents were in town, so I joined the feed a little bit late. But we definitely, this morning actually, my wife was making meatballs and croquettes and pulled pork or football Sunday, and one of the knives on my magnetic strip blew right off, and that was a little bit strange. And that's really the first time we've actually seen like physical things happen in the house. So I'm interested to see what my buddy Brian finds out. So I will keep you guys updated for sure.
Okay, stay safe, take some notes, and we'll reconvene when the time is right. Do the best, brother. Appreciate you very much. Do follow us on X, the people that do have X. Like I said, maybe we'll do a space here or there on a Friday night randomly. And so, yeah, there you go. Appreciate you very much. Thanks for staying. Go ahead.
Hey, all the best, and I will talk to you soon.
Take care.
Take care. I just wanted to say, love you, man.
Thank you. And back at you. That's the whole point of this, is doing the community and meeting people. Like I said, all the AI talk and all the paranormal stuff, this is a very human space. That's what it's always been. It's what it always will be. And I think it's our advantage going into the hyper reality, because we're imperfect. When AI can replicate imperfect humans, I think we'll still outdo them. You're the best. Appreciate the call. Thanks for staying up late. Thanks for supporting the show and just being you. And God bless you and the family. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great night.
Take care, brother.
You too. You were the best. Chef. That's Chef Pete. Pete in Georgia. Anything else on that, James? And we got Eric coming up, and then we'll wrap this up. Like I said, if you guys got a quick comment's cool, just pop in here and say hi. Tell us how much you love us, because this is a community. James, go ahead, and then we'll go to Eric.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing from Chef Pete as well. We talked about doing a show on my show as well, episode of my show as well. So we will. But I mean, I'm sure there'll be more than enough to cover to be on both. So that'd be fun. And thank you for having me. And yeah, I'll be looking forward to the rest of the calls. How many ever there are.
Amen. And don't forget to follow James in all the places, because just because I'm taking some time off, an extended break here, doesn't mean that everybody else is. So go follow all our friends. Algorithm, again, you guys know him, Mike in Colorado. You know him, you love him. He streams at Thank You Hiker at 8:15 Pacific time on Tuesdays. And then he's also going to be doing some extended kind of filling in some gaps here, because there will be no troubled mind. So this is the point, right? We're like a network together, and we talk about these ideas together, and we've even set our schedules to kind of not compete with each other, this type of thing. So go follow, again, Algorithm, follow James, follow all these amazing people. Eric in Ohio. What's up, brother? You're on Troubled Minds. Been a minute. How are you doing? Welcome to the joint.
Hey, man. Can you hear me well enough?
Loud and clear. That
fantastic
buttery baritone is in play tonight. What's on my man? You sound great.
Hey, cool. I just wanted to say hi and bye before you went on the away mission. So we'll be around when you come back in January, and say hello to you, James, and everyone out in the ether, in the community. Hello, everyone. It's nice to see everyone. It's nice to see the discourse going strong. I presume it will be when you come back online, as much as it ever was. I think it was December of last year that I had my first show. The first one I heard, called in on that show. And so this will end up my first year as well, my experience with this show, which has been fantastic. And I finally became stabilized and have a place, and I got everything set up and actually got things hung on the wall, including some D&D maps. Started a D&D game. Had my second D&D game yesterday, which was my birthday, and had 9 people over and cooked some beans and ham, and we gamed on for quite a while. And then so yeah, man, things are going well. Things are getting stable. I'm looking forward to catching the show when it comes back online, and all of that good stuff, my good sirs.
And thank you very much for being part of it. It's been a good year, and I'm glad you're stabilizing. I'm going to be working on a similar situation, so read into that as you will. Like I said, it's no problem. It's just kind of options. When there's options available, you have to do some things. And when I work a full-time job, Troubled Minds kind of gets in the way of doing the things that need to be done. That's all. And so happy birthday to you, belated. I'm so glad you're doing D&D games again. And it's part of your DNA. It's part of my DNA. I wish I had a group I could play D&D with online. Maybe we need to make that happen at some point because, once a month or something, twice a month or whatever on a Friday night.
Yeah.
I would so be into that. It's part of my DNA that hasn't been itched. That itch hasn't been scratched for quite some time. So I'd definitely be into that if you're into something like that.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Yeah, it was crazy because they'd waited in some cases, well, at least 4 years while I was gone. Everybody had waited to game, and a couple of people had waited probably 10 years because they were just doing life things, getting on with life, and just things came together so quick, and it was just hilarious. There was people were clapping and cheering at people finding secret doors. It was hilarious, man. They were so excited on the first game that it was almost overwhelming.
That's a good, again, see, so bringing that energy to a space is a human thing. Please don't forget, there is joy that we bring to people when we do the things that we do best. Don't forget it. I know you haven't. I'm just saying that to everybody out there. If you miss a day, look, it hurts my heart to miss time here when I do this. It's been a rough month for me, but also coming in the future here. So it does hurt my heart, but trust me, there's a recognition of the joy that comes of the work you do. So find it within yourself to do some work that spreads the love to the people out there, as I know you're doing. Appreciate you very much, man.
Thank you, sir. Well, that's all I got. I just wanted to say hello and goodbye, as always.
Right on. And we'll catch you soon, God willing. Cross your fingers and all the rest of that. And we'll catch you on the Discord and maybe on X, or maybe for an impromptu here or there from the next couple months. But thank you very much for being part of this. Thanks for being our friend, and thanks for being you.
Thanks. Bye.
Have a great night. Me love Eric in Ohio. Hammersmith Music, troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down a little bit. Follow Eric. Talented guy. He makes his music in Reaper, by the way. Reaper.fm. Yeah, that's why I'm a fan, because, one of the other reasons we're kindred spirits in so many ways. I use Reaper to edit the thing. I've been using it forever. Yeah. So, okay. Going to do this. Like I said, it's a professional development, as has been said over there on Rumble, just taking some professional development time. What's up? Thank you again to the Robert for the generous donation over there on Rumble. It says Mike's going undercover. You guys seen Eddie Murphy and what's that one from the 80s? Beverly Hills Cop 2, when he's like, I'm going deep undercover. You won't even know I'm here. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. But I'll be around, though. It's not going to be that stupid. Let's go to Jacob. Jacob, Harsher Boy, what's your brother? You're on Troubled Minds. Pop on in on mute, and it's all you. Again, like I said, this is not a Mike ego thing. It's a don't worry, guys, we'll be back thing. Okay. I appreciate all the kind words, and thanks for staying up late. Jacob, welcome to the joint. How you doing tonight? And what's on your mind? Go right ahead.
Doing okay. How's everybody? I mean, I know it's been a while. I haven't called in a while.
It has been a minute.
Cool.
I see you in there. You're listening. You're still part of the thing, man. We didn't forget you.
Oh boy. It's I don't know. I hope you find your solace in what you're trying to do. It's important, I'm about to go, this is my last night of really, I don't know, I'm going to do some sobriety thing as long as I can make it. That's my thing right now. But I don't know. These things, we just need to figure ourselves out,
Yeah, absolutely. And get it. Congratulations on the decision. And I know you can do it. If that's what you want, I know you can do it. And it's probably going to be better for you. I think almost without a doubt, that's probably the way. 100%. I only said that because I'm not ready to take that step.
Dude, I work at one of the best bars in the Southeast US, and it's just but I feel like people there understand. They're civilized, thinking individuals, but it's just the way society is. I still think that this is some weird simulation. I try not to think that, but I live in Georgia. I mean, everywhere you go, there's a liquor store on every other block, it's just hard, man. You know, you got to really have some discipline. It's like you're struggling against a whole system that just wants to poison you. But you know, it's fun. There's this social culture out there, but there's also people that are like that want to do good and that are living healthy lifestyles, you know, and people are trying to make the most of it, you know, and it's just like it's a struggle to fit in, you know, in a way. It's a weird culture, but we're all trying to find our way, you know.
Amen. And that's very well said, and you're spot on. It's not just trying to find ourselves, trying to find our place in everybody else. You can't be too weird and too ostracized, or ostracizing yourself, then you're just some random weirdo, right? It's a strange thing, like the social proof, social pressure. I mean, it's complicated, as I like to say.
I like your show. I think you do a lot of things that are like not normal. You talk about things that nobody really talking about, and you engage in this conversation. Everyone just is like tethered to their devices, and so I was just talking about this. Like, I met somebody tonight who came to my bar who's like, and they're like, okay, I just started painting recently, right? And I'm like, I'm trying to figure it out. I try to be some medium, and I'm like, okay, but I feel like I'm pretty amateur because I just started painting, you know. And I have somebody just trying to like recruit me to come do some mural in there, and like a few states away from here. And I'm like, hey, you know that, like, I'm like, okay, I like your energy, but like, you know, maybe we could collaborate. But I'm like, all right, how is these things happening to me? You know, I'm just trying to figure out the world. But, you know, you got to, what I'm trying to get at is I appreciate people if they got an intense energy, or people that are like authentic, like artists or creators or musicians. Sorry, I'm like on the street right now.
You're okay.
But people that are like not tapped into this like electronic AI, like where it's trying to sell you something that's not real. You know, there's something out there that's happening in the algorithm. It's like, hey, you need like an AI girlfriend, or you need like AI to plan out your budget, or all this stuff. You know, when we have those tools, like to communicate with each other and be like, you know, networks or something. You know, I don't know. I think, or you know, I'll see someone at a bus stop reading a book. I'm like, is that real? Someone reading a book over there? That's the way that things are turning out these days. You know, it's like, so I'm just trying to appreciate stuff like that. I don't even know where I'm at as an artist. I'm figuring it out, but I'm a creator. I don't pretend to understand these things. I just let them turn out the way they turn out. So I'm just trying to appreciate that in this world that seems like it's a dying art, where art is actually struggling with the real world. With the real world, what you call the real world, I think that's hard to understand these days.
Yeah, well said all that. And again, congratulations on the decision. Keep creating things like I said this recently, and I stick by this. Like if we're not creating things to inspire other people, we are sort of a net drain on the world, because again, controversial, whatever. But if we're constantly consuming just to survive and eventually embrace the entropy that comes, what did we do? And so wherever that inspiration comes from, press forward with it. And like you said, the best way, shout out our good buddy Rohan, rest in peace, the mighty Rohan. He said, fire and forget. You create something, you put it out there. And if it doesn't get engagement, it doesn't get interest, it doesn't get anything, that's fine. Because it doesn't necessarily mean right now. There's a lot of people in history that have created things, never got any attention until after they passed. But they have massive influence on modern culture. Just keep creating things, brother. Just keep being authentic, and just keep being you. And that's what this is all about, as you know. Still there?
No, I appreciate that. You know, I appreciate your show. You know, it's you know, it's like it's a good community, which I feel like some of us black sheep people, you know, we don't, you know, we relate to this. Everyone's, you know, I don't hate to say like 9 to 5 people, but there's just people out there that are just in this autonomous zone, which is a really great song by this band Killing Joke, by the way.
Yes,
I feel like I'm always speaking in metaphors of like songs and stuff. That's like my language, not a lot of people do that. People will listen to like 5 bands that they've ever discovered in their life, and I'm just like, that's if anything about the internet is like, I'll go seek out new music like every other day, and I'm like, oh, that's just what I do. Like, maybe I'm just so ADHD where I just have to go discover things. Like I'm so, whether it's music or art, or like I'll find a field in my neighborhood that I never explored. There's like these weird birds that are like, or there's some animal like that I feel like is creeping me out. That's just what I do. I like that stuff.
Welcome to it. It's okay to be strange. And by the way, crap it on the 9-to-5ers. I know we weren't crapping on them particularly, but I'm a 9-to-5er too. Until this gets me fired from my job. Until Troubled Minds are like, what is with this dude?
Is that even a thing? I think we all have two jobs. Like everyone has to have 2 jobs these days because that's how the world is now. I don't think 9 to 5 is even much of a thing anymore. It's more like 9 to 11.
9 to midnight. Yeah. I finished this after we're done with this. And again, I don't count this as a job. This is my therapy. But when I'm done with this is like midnight, 12:30, 1 a.m. And that's when I go to bed. When I'm done editing this and putting this together, releasing it on the podcast feed tomorrow. So you're right. And I got thoughts on that, but it's too late in the night for me to ramble on that.
Fair enough. No, but maybe that doesn't even exist anymore because everyone I know, and myself included, has to have at least another job just to survive these days. So that's how things are these days. So, which sucks. Well, it is what it is. Hopefully everyone's surviving,
God bless you in the journey there. It's the right decision, and stay creating, keep learning, keep dreaming, keep pressing forward, keep inspiring people. That's what this is all about. Jacob Harsherboy. You know where to find him, troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down. Let me do the thing. And then it says follow Jacob. He's a talented guy and a talented musician, creating all manner of things. Simple as that. Simple as that. You want to be part of the conversation and all the rest of it, part of the thing. There's all these people here. The wall of people. Shout out Erica. Described it as that. It's what it is. It's alphabetical. Jacob is there. Go give him a follow. Check out his music. Brilliant guy. Tons of amazing music he's made, and he's looking forward to making more. James, anything else? Let's wrap this up and get out of here.
Yeah, great show. Great to hear from everyone, and especially people that, at least for myself, I hadn't heard in a little while as far as their voices go. Because I don't get to keep up with chat visually very much. But yeah, just thank you for letting me sit in again. I wanted to be here for this because of the break that you're taking and everything. And yeah, it's funny because I'm taking a little one myself, but looking forward to being around when you come back and just being around as always in Discord and talking with you all whenever we can.
Amen. Glad to have you. You know him, you love him. James Salcedo Paranormal, the glue of the show. A dear friend, the paranormal expert at Troubled Minds, salcidoparanormal.com, SALSIDO paranormal.com, troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down a little bit, follow James in all the places, go buy his books. Let's support each other, guys. Like if you got some discretionary income, support the people that are here doing this thing. Look, it's not just me. Notice I don't spend. Anybody who's been listening for a long time recognize I'm not trying to like monetize this to the nines. It's nice. Thank you for the donations. Thank you for supporting the show. Let's support everybody here. That's the point. Go buy the books James is writing. Go buy the books Robert's writing. Go buy the books Sonia's writing. Let's support each other. That's the whole point. Go buy the books at Viking Superpowers. He was on the last show, Dave Lovegrove. This is the point. Go follow each other. Do the things. That's what's on my mind. You're the best, James. Appreciate you very much. Thanks for being the glue of the show. The dear friend, all those things. I'll be in touch. I'm not going anywhere in that regard. So I'll still be online. I'll still be doing the stuff. At least being a weirdo and dropping my late night thoughts in the Discord or whatever. So join the Discord. Come say hi. Come hang out with these amazing people. That it's not just me. Look, I'm an amazing people. I'm an amazing person. I do know it. However, I'm not the only one. There's many of us. And I know we're off the beaten path, but it's my honest heart. It's what brings us here. It's what brings me here. And I hope it's what brings you here too. That's it. That's it. I think the world is not as we see it. I think it's complicated and important that we discuss it. And let's say beyond that, something that we should consider every moment we have a minute to think about what might come next and how much we've been fooled in the past. Like I said, my name is Michael Strange, and I'm here because I've been fooled about a great many things. That's it. It's as simple as that. It doesn't get any more complicated other than it's very complicated. You get it? You get the dichotomy of all these things, the how it works in both sides. Yeah. Look, I don't know. If I did know, I would just show up and be like, I'd be Candace Owens, right? Yeah. Go ahead. Tell her I said that. Look, knowing the answers is one thing. Recognizing when you might be wrong entirely is where we're at. It's where I'm at. What am I wrong about? Go ahead and nitpick it. Go ahead and don't. I don't care. I'm not here for some sort of clout or anything else other than my ideas need to get out somewhere. And I thank God every day that you guys bear with me and recognize that my imperfection is part of this. And I might be right once in a while. That's it. That's it. It's very simple. It doesn't have to be as complicated as we make it. But also, if anybody wants to bet against me that there's not 50,000 draconian soldiers or whatever on that comet, I'll take some action. But I don't want to take your money. You get what I'm saying? I'm saying we are steeped in propaganda. It's horrific that the counter-propaganda aspect has maybe become worse than the propaganda aspect itself. The internet is fractalizing the mind space, and here we are. So how do we deal with it? I think we deal with it by talking to each other, by challenging those ideas, by, again, me shooting myself in the foot by being the UFO guy that's like, no, I don't believe the comet stories. You get it? I think that's why people show up and they're like, yeah, I really love this. And then they dip because they're like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Fine. Go find... I'm not going to call anybody out. Thank you, Magavelli, from the Rumble crew. Generous donation. Appreciate that very much. You guys are the best. Thanks for staying up late and being part of this. Again, we're all entering somewhere we've never been. Thank you to the Robert again for several generous donations tonight over there on Rumble. Like I said, just keep dreaming. Keep thinking. Keep wondering where we're wrong and how we rectify that. Not for society, for ourselves. It's simple, right? Like I said, things can be simple personally in a complicated world. That's it. That's it. That's it. If you want to help Troubled Minds, help our friends, troubledminds.org/friends. If you want to follow me on X and all the places, join the Discord, troubledminds.org, click the Discord link. Listen to the radio station. I'm going to spend some time and revamp all that. I've been an absentee landlord in that regard, so we're going to fix that and get that fixed and up to date, and maybe, just maybe. I don't want to jinx myself by mentioning it, but okay, that's it. That's it. Have a fantastic holiday season. Don't eat too much. Moderation is all things.
What the heck?
No, James. No, James. No, James. Don't eat too much. As we finish, it goes exactly like this. This one goes out to each and every one of you. Thanks again for validating wild ideas in a complicated world. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night, have a great holiday season, and we'll see you sometime in 2026. Catch you then. Don't forget, I didn't forget about you, so don't forget about me. Catch you soon. Have a great night.